darkness surrounds me, shape-shifting in the night, stalking you. Does my face seem familiar? Does my body tell you more? Will I change you or will it end you? And the power that I have can give you eternal life. Death doesn't know me. I've become eternal. When the hunger wakes me, I live to feed. With the darkness surrounds me, where the mist, she follows me. I walk alone in the night, watching you, following you, leading on you through the night. When the hunger wakes me, I live to feed. With the darkness surrounds me. All your life I was still, I've become the living dead. I own the darkness and know what beats inside of me. I've become eternal. When the hunger wakes me, I live to feed. With the darkness surrounds me. Unspeakable crime, murder at midnight. A deal I made, a life I had to take. Someone I loved once held so tight. The screams will follow me, cries of my ancestors said, go away. My operation, fasting in brain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal high inside me. From the ancestors crying, I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same. This form I desire, innocent blood I will devour. Ancestors gathering round the dwelling, the spirit inhabiting, evil enveloping, the dancing graves in the night, the spirit occupying and transforming stolen heights. Dark practices, my secret life, feathered outers, mysticism intriguing. My operate, fasting in brain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal are part of the dark creation. My desires performing incantations. I walk in disguise. If I catch you, it's your demise. Shamanism, my religion, summoning spirits, manifesting myself and changing my flesh. A nightmare to behold. I'ma make you part of the fold. The skin of a man, the soul of a predator. The change is complete. This thing I become, my flesh has succumbed. My offering, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal hiding by me. From the ancestors crying. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same.
All right, guys. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. The most hated man on the internet, they say. Actually, no, they don't. They being just a handful of lunatics. They do. But you guys, you're here because you love what we do. And I love what we do. And we're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna be doing what we do. You know what I was thinking the other day? I was thinking about, how the outlaws from the Old West, they're celebrated, a lot of them now, like they were heroes. But, at the time, they had a lot of people that didn't like them. And that doesn't really matter because in the end, their legacy is cemented, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As being, a part of the tapestry of the Old West, the old days. Can you fix that right there behind you? It looks like it's about to come down. There you go.
How's that better?
Are you gonna do like Charlie on
Got some gum?
what's it called? Sunny in Philadelphia. Does this picture look crooked to you? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because you did that, and that really aggravated my OCD. I'm like,
do it again.
Please don't do that.
I'll do several of them.
Yeah. So.
And not even in a line.
Yeah, let's not even go there.
We have a bionic woman in the chat.
Bionic woman is in the chat. You want to say hi, guys?
Hello, guys. Just kidding.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I gotta fix the screen real quick.
Okay.
Oh. So last night I decided to try to do deadlifts. And me and Anthony, I gotta move my legs. My hands.
Oh my gosh. Do you want the foot thingy?
My
The footstool?
What is it?
The footstool? Do you think it'll help?
Go get the massager and put them on my legs while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So your voice vibrates when you talk.
Okay. So last night, what happened was we went into one of our job sites, and they had this. We've talked about getting it before, but me and Anthony are both scared of it. We're not gonna lie. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It is like a deadlift bar, like helps you. So you're basically like doing squat, like you're doing your legs and you're doing your
hamstrings.
Yeah, your back, everything. Your lower back is getting hit too.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those bars where you get inside of it. I've only used it one time in my whole life, and I was using it incorrectly. Well, not incorrectly. Incorrectly to the untrained observer.
Wait,
I
you
knew
said
what I was
incorrectly first, and then you thought about it.
Well, no, because it would be incorrect to the purist, to the powerlifting purist. But I was like lifting it and using it to walk around the gym and then setting it down and going back up and then walking.
Well, no, you can use it like that for farmer walks.
But people were looking at me like, "What are you doing?" Because I was doing these short shrugs, which if you look at my traps, it works. I mean, it really does work because everybody's different, Yeah,
that bar is good for squats, deadlifts, shrugs, and farmer lifts.
Never did squats, and so I did squats and deadlifts last night. And believe me, my legs feel like noodles, dude. I am like so Yeah, it was rough.
That's right, Go Dogs. 5 sets of 5. That's what I like.
Yeah. Well, I was doing sets of 20,
Yeah.
and it was brutal. I did 5 sets of 20, and I'm going to tell you, the last 2 sets, I was like, "What am I doing to myself?" And my body was screaming
Yeah.
to stop. But it's that pain that you get.
The burn.
Yeah. So even now, trying to adjust
Mm-hmm.
my shorts, my legs are like, "What are you doing? Why are we not laying down?"
You've already put us to enough. Stop.
Man, okay.
Because it lights everything on fire at the same time. Like
It really does.
squats are like if you do squats right, they'll hit your hamstrings too. But they really light up your quads. But that hex bar, it's like just like the front of your legs and the back of them all at the same time. They just burn. It's very painful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
SJP
good. It's
just
supposed to
said
be.
that after workout pain is the best. I'm really sore myself. Yeah.
No burn, no earn.
Paranormal Paul says it's a good pain, right? Yeah, right. It's awesome.
Yeah, it hurts so good.
We love it. You know. In fact, I'm so much pain. See ya.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go lay down. We have some very comfortable couches in the break room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go sit on those. Y'all do the show.
Okay, I
But,
got this.
And now comes the part where we beg for money. Folks,
Please.
it's the end of the year. Find it in your heart to buy us a cup of coffee. I already bought it, but if you could pay me back for it, that'd be great.
Please give me a handout. Please, sir. I have some more.
So apparently, Lance Hightower is back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Where
so
was
I was
he?
just I just saw that he was back, and so I sent him a message, and he was at the conference.
Glad you're back.
Yeah, I saw he's been posting on his channel again.
Yeah.
His latest video has been doing really well.
Well, he did a good
He
job.
posted it like a week ago, and it's got like 100,000 views. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's why
Whoa,
we had
that's
him.
really cool. 100,000 views in a
Mhm.
week.
Yeah, he's he does a
Congratulations.
good job. That's why we had him at the conference. You
Yeah,
know?
he's really smart.
By the way, his channel is called Monster 911. If you want to go check it out,
911. Go check it out.
definitely go.
Yeah. And of course, our friends, Blondes and Booze, we like them. We like BMR. We like Jason Bland with Paranormal Soup. We like Tex from Texas Front Porch. Who are we missing here? Expanded Perspectives. They're our friends, good people. There's a
Blondes
lot
and
of good content.
Booze, Big Tex.
I just said
I
all
was
of
reading
those.
the comments, so I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
Joe Breezy, Monica.
Joe Breezy and Monica.
Rollins.
Thank you, Cool Hand, for that donation. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Colin.
Just we've
Oh,
been begging
Cool Hand.
you. We're begging.
Thank you, Cool Hand, for the handout.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say spilling tea.
Thank you for
sparkling
lending a
sparkles.
hand.
Hellbent Holler.
Hellbent Holler.
There you are.
Jesse and Joe, good friends of ours.
They're in the chat.
Very great
BMR.
show. We're talking like actual, real boots on the ground. They're not going to walk around in their backyard and throw a rock.
No,
and
they're
say it's a
they're a
Bigfoot.
serious. They get it done.
Yeah,
correctly.
So they do what they do.
They bring it to you real and raw.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of really good channels out there. If I didn't say your name, Paranormal Paul, he's another one. I like Ryvoss.
Abe
He's good.
Seus.
Abe Seus. He's
Spiritual
awesome.
Encrypted Encounters.
You have a good community here. Contrary to what people would like you to believe, there's all this conflict and whatever. That's not the case. There is a very small fraction of people who do these ridiculous things, and the rest, everybody's pretty chill.
They're unimportant. Let's just focus
Chris
on.
Garitano is a good
Chris
friend of ours.
Garitano.
He's awesome. Eric Palacios.
Paranormal
I
Paul.
was talking to somebody at the gym the other night about Eric's because we
Eric
get this.
Costa.
We work out at one of our gyms. We work out at several, but one of them that we like to go to. And the guy that works overnight, I thought he was a
Thank you,
butthole.
Matthew.
I thought he was just a butthole, but he's not, and he's actually a pretty cool guy. And whenever that guy, somebody backed into our vehicle, and the guy that worked flew into action, and he was very helpful. And then since then, like he's talked to me, and we've actually.
I like him. He's really funny.
Yeah, he's actually a nice guy. So what ended up happening, we became friends because at first I thought this guy's he's not cool. He's not a nice guy, but I think he just there's a lot of weird people that act goofy,
Yeah.
you know, overnight. There'll be people that'll go in there and they'll just sit there and use the Wi-Fi and play video games. And you're like, what is this? And, you know, so he's got to deal with all these weird people. So it seems like he's a pretty even killed guy. So we were talking, one of the people that was working out in there, about Bigfoot. And they were like, you're not going to believe this. My dad has seen Bigfoot. And another one was saying that their stepdad had seen a dog man. And it was right there in that area. So I told him, I said, look, my friend Eric Palacios has actually done a documentary called The Beast of Brushy Creek. He's done a couple of them on Amazon. And it's right there. I mean, one of the sightings, one of the scariest ones that I've heard of from people who've told me there was a sighting. It's right there where Stefan, who's a good friend of ours and former roommate or whatever. When we left Austin, he stayed here in Austin and went to live with another friend of his. But we talked to him yesterday. He's still a really good friend of the family's. He's a Haitian guy, and he there was a guy who got chased by a dog man at like 6 a.m. when he was on his way to high school to go to school. And he was a high school kid when it happened. It was like 12 years ago, or I guess 25 now, almost 13 years ago. And can you imagine that? You're 14 years old, you're riding your bike to school, and then you find out monsters exist because someone or something chases you at 6 a.m. And it's literally right there close to it. It's about not even four blocks from that gym that we work out at. So we were sitting there talking, and this guy was giving me this story, and I said, look at it, just right there was a guy that got chased. And he said, well, my dad saw one, or stepdad, and he was telling me about it. His name's Clint, but he was telling me that right there by Ronald Reagan Boulevard. Now, honey, I know this is traumatic, but you remember that time we ran into the deer?
Oh.
Luckily, we had the grill guard on the Tundra back at that time when we used to have a Tundra. It didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But Nellie wanted me to stop and get out and help the deer because she loves everything. Render aid. And I'm over there like, breathe. And then I'm looking around and I'm like,
giving it CPR.
Don't breathe. I'm going to put you in the back.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to take you and
turn you into sausage
and make you some jerky. She's like, what are you doing? I'm trying to help him.
Well, waste not.
He's saying he don't want to live no more. He's about to expire. And I looked at my watch. It is November and it's deer seasons. I'm just saying. But I told her,
I made friends with him. I gave him a name. His name is Venison.
He made peace with being unalive.
Thank you, Paranormal Paul.
But so seriously, on a serious note, though, it was like, you know, it was deer season, and I was like, I told her flat out, I said, if I stop to help that deer, he's going to be put in the back of the truck, and we're going to use him as nourishment because he's not going to make it anyway. Poor guy. But the thing is,
well, at least he wasn't stressed out when
right
he
there,
went away.
where she wanted me to stop. I didn't mean to talk over you, but you're interrupting me. But right there where she wanted me to stop, folks, there had been multiple sightings of things, okay? And I was like, I'm not stopping right here, okay? Because here's the thing, folks. Those deer were running from something, and I don't know what it was, okay? And they were running. I could see them running, like, and I slowed down to where we were only going about 25, 30. And the last one got nailed. I mean, this was several years ago, but there was something was chasing them. I don't know what it was, but in that area, I'm not going to stop over there because you know when I stopped to use the restroom over by the Werewolf Church, of course it's called Werewolf Church. I mean, something large was crashing through the brush, and Nellie was screaming for me to get back in the truck, and she had a full-on panic attack. Right then is when I decided that if anything goes down, I'm just going to push her out and let her deal, you know, and be like, best of luck to you. Yeah, no, I would never do that. I would never do that. Unless the strategic position, and I'm joking. I'm joking. But no, so, you know, you have to make up your mind. I mean, because if you're like us and you're fully aware that these things exist, okay, and it's not a joke to you. And I'm telling you right now, I talk to people. I mean, I'm going to ask you guys, in all honesty, probably every day.
Oh, yeah.
I would say every day of my life, I talk to people who have encounters. And Anthony was, even after all these years, you've seen it a million times, but still just to get stories from people at the gym just by talking to them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's almost like having a sixth sense about it, because I just started up a conversation with this guy. I was just coming off of the tricep pull down, and he needed to get on or whatever. And we started talking. And next thing you know, he's telling me about his stepdad's dogman encounter. It's crazy.
It's crazy how more people have had encounters than not. Like,
Well, it seems like it
yeah, the
anyway.
unicorns are the ones that, you know, I've never seen anything. How fortunate for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're in the
doing well.
minority.
Yeah.
You're doing well to not have to see that. But I wonder too, like, you know, because we go eat dinner and there's a waiter or somebody, and we were wearing one of us was wearing I think Nelly, you were wearing a paranormal hoodie, and somebody was asking us about it, and then we ended up talking to a waiter that wasn't our waiter, but they were there, and they were telling us a story. And then we went to go eat dinner over at was it Lupi Tortilla, and the guy came up and was like, "You guys are paranormal."
Oh, he goes, he
That was really
recognized your
cool.
voice. He goes, I know that
He
voice.
recognized my voice, yeah. And then we were somewhere else, and a guy recognized us. I'm trying to remember where we were at.
Oh, Jason's Deli.
Jason's Deli. And then we went out
Yeah.
and gave him one of the new shirts. He was all
Yeah, that
excited.
guy was actually listening to us like in his
Earbud.
earbuds as he met us.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. And then we went to
for
the
real.
what's it called? We get the smoothies. What's it called? You get
Smoothie King?
Smoothie King. We went to the Smoothie King, and I'm standing there ready to order. This was only a couple of weeks ago, and I was with Scorpio and Anthony. We were in there, and we heard something playing on there, and it sounded like it was one of our guests. Then they were talking, and then my voice came on. I said, "That's our show. They're playing our show."
Yeah.
And so, guy came out from the back. He's like, "Can I help you?" And he didn't recognize us, but I was like, "Hey, y'all are playing." And he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "My coworker goes to Texas State, and he's a big fan." He goes, "Are you guys?" He didn't know us. And he goes, "You guys like Paranormal Roundtable too?" And I was like, "Well, no, we are Paranormal Roundtable." He goes, "What?" So he runs back there, and he gets the guy, and the guy comes back, and he's all drying his hands. You know, he's like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And he came around the counter and was like, "What do y'all want?" And he was, and I said, "Well, don't get in trouble, but we want this."
Yeah.
But I don't want to put you out. But I thought that was cool. And then we went to the that place. What's it called? Fire Bowl. We went to the Fire Bowl, and they knew us there too. And so, pretty cool that you get recognized. At least people recognize you. Only one time that I have somebody who was like kind of rude about it. They were just, I was like, "Well, we have a show we do, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, I know who you are." He was standing there with his little, ready to take our order. And he was just staring at me like he did not give a crap, because his coworker was all enamored with us. He was just like,
Oh, you talk about what place was that?
I'm not even going to give him the credit.
Okay, I know.
Because I was just like, okay. I was like, "Are you going to spit in our food?" And then he goes, "No, there's cameras that'll watch me, so I can't." Wow. So you're saying you would?
It's all, here's your mystery salad.
And then he's like, "Of course I wouldn't do that just because I hate you." Well, it turns out that he didn't like us for one reason, because they played our show constantly, and he was not into the paranormal. And then later on, I find out the guy's name was with an H. Started with an H. Or that's not correct.
Harry on?
Glenn. It was
Harry?
His name was Glenn. Where did I get the H from? His name was Glenn. And later, when he brought our food, I said, "Hey, why do you not like us?" He goes, "It's not that I don't like you. It plays all the time." He goes, "And I'm not really into the paranormal." And then, my brother kind of hit the nail on the head. He was like, "Does it scare you?" And he goes, "Yeah, kind of. And I got to drive home." And so poor guy has like this, they're playing our show constantly. So yeah, he's going to be, "I don't like this," and, whatever. But, you can't please everybody.
Thank you, Matthew. Oh, I guess he's saying not to watch.
The new Nosferatu movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that it was.
It's bad. It's that bad. It's ruining my
It's
life.
not for us to watch. But
I mean, I like that director. I think I might still check it out.
You're just like, you just
Now if
been
he takes
told.
back
I'm
his
going to tell you,
donation.
there's about a dozen people who've already told me not to watch it. So when you go watch it, don't come in and go, yeah, y'all all were right. Just don't do it.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just,
Just
gonna
don't
watch
do it.
it.
Don't watch it.
He'll be critiquing it the whole time.
Just
I would.
don't watch it the way people hear about us and then they don't listen.
Hellbent Holler said, saw it tonight. It's amazing.
See, one
Yeah, see?
person says that.
William
Well, there's
Nicole,
two
I like
people
him.
in Help and Holler, so two people like it. I will say this: there were, and I was about to make a joke, but here's the thing: we had a lady named Stacy, who's now, she might be in the chat, I don't know, but she reached out to me and she says, I didn't listen to you guys because I was told that y'all were horrible and that you were always fighting with people and blah, blah, blah. She goes, and then she goes, you know how you just like, you're told don't do this, don't do that, and then you want to go do it anyway. And then she's like, and then I listened to you guys and I was hooked. And she's like, I've listened to 200 some odd episodes. This was a couple of weeks ago, but now she's a big fan.
Who?
Her name is Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy.
But she's a big fan now, and that's cool because, you know, she didn't buy into the bullcrap. But for like a year and a half, she didn't listen to us.
Oh, you're gonna like it, Wolf. Hellbent Holler says lots of references to
Eastern European folklore. Oh, definitely. Yeah, well, then that I definitely will. But so we got 430 people in the chat. Let's get started. So we have, this is going to be connected. Now we're doing an episode on Lechuza, and it's not like there's one Lechuza, it's Brujeres. So there's going to be a lot of different aspects to it. But we talked about some people who had Lechuza going on down in Falfurrias. The guy's name was Pepe. Well, like we've said before in Spanish, it's Jose. Right. And we don't know. We don't make the rules of Mexican slang. I don't know why they call Jesus Chuy.
Mm-hmm.
They call him Chuy. I always thought Chewbacca's probably his name was Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus
Chewbacca
Baca.
was a Mexican?
Jesus Baca. Yeah. I quit listening to him after I heard him go, you know, and I was like, man.
It's kind of hard to believe since he was so tall.
Yeah, he's too tall. Well, Marty, though, my business partner, 6'5". He's the tallest Mexican I've been around.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Marty was Chewbacca.
He was
Right.
she was Chewy Baca. Sorry, I'm trying to clear my throat. But
Some water here.
we ended up, no, I'm good. So we ended up with thank you. Talking to a guy, and now we got in touch with him and his wife, and they told us about the Lechuza. So that one thing kind of led to another, and they gave us a story from one of their cousins down on the border that happened to them down in Mexico. And now we haven't actually told that story on the live stream, the people from Falfurrias, but it was all based on what had happened to Albert. And Albert had gone and he had some weird stuff happening in Falfurrias. And so it led to the Lechuza thing. And now what, I believe it was the Supernatural December, what they may have encountered could have been vampiric too. We don't know. It's hard to say, but I'm convinced that what we're going to talk about tonight was vampiric. I believe, and I tell people all the time, if you really want to get down to the bottom of what's going on in this world, you can't just limit yourself to the United States. Now, if you're boots on the ground, and I mean real boots on the ground, not running around and seeing saber-tooth tigers on the side of the road, boots on the ground. I'm talking about like Hellbent Hollow boots on the ground. Then you're going to be, that's your wheelhouse. That's what you do, But when it comes to getting the stories, you have to go deep. And I mean, going down into Mexico, Poland, like we did the story about Poland and the Soviet super soldiers. The Latvian, the story. Remember the people? That one was crazy. That was told to us. They called it the nameless thing. They didn't know. They didn't have a name for it. It was the nameless horror. And it was a flying creature, not unlike a vampire. And I'm convinced that these things exist. Now, if you'd have told me a couple of years ago, I might have been like, well, they're stories, but now you're getting a lot more, and you're starting to go, well, there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This one here was very interesting because we had already been told by another guy. I'm not even going to say his name yet because we're not ready to do it. But we had already laid it out there. We've already interviewed him, and We just got to finish one little detail and we're ready to go. And it was going to be called the Vampires of Mexico. Now, the crazy thing is, this guy from Falfurious, Pepe, he tells us, he's like, I got a cousin that lived down near Monterrey, and I've been to Monterrey at least 3 times, well, twice, and then down near there because my stepdad used to have a ranch down there. And so Monterrey's a really cool place. It's really nice. I like it down there. I have not been able to go since they decided to start removing people's heads for, whatever little reason. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it where it's at.
Could put a damper on things.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay up here north of the Rio Grande. Yeah. Our citizens' heads are falling off. It's like, okay, so we decided we're not going to do that. But
they went French Revolution down there.
They did. Very Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
So
where's the cake?
Is that a word, Marie Antoinette?
Right, it was her.
The tres leches cake.
Oh yeah.
Let them eat tres leches. And then they
learned from Robespierre.
Yeah, Robespierre. So we decided that we, and with like I said, with the Marie Antoinette thing going on, I don't go to Mexico anymore, and I haven't been for a long time. But I still have a lot of friends that do, and I was talking about my friend Juanito, who was gunned down in Mexico in Guadalajara about 10 years ago. Yeah, he was a really nice guy, a good friend of me and Jerome's, my brother, D and Scorpio. We were all good friends, and he was murdered. And he had nothing to do with it. They went in there to do something to someone else, and him and his grandmother became collateral damage. No. And so it's crazy. We also have a friend who grows avocados, and that became a war zone.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cartels tried to take over the
college. Call it green gold.
So, yeah, green gold. So whenever we talk about the border, I'm going to tell you, I know exactly where this is, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't know what they're doing. And I don't want them to be like, hey, this guy's talking about us, or because if you give one cartel too much clout, then the other ones get mad. We're not doing all that. So we're not putting ourselves in harm's way. I'm just going to tell you that the cartels in general are not to be messed with. They are not a joke. Okay. And I'm not going to sing the praises of any of them, and I'm not going to down them because I don't want to be a part of anything that's going on. But there is a supernatural element to this. A lot of them do pray to Santa Muerta. Now, Santa Muerta is the saint of death. They worship it, basically, and you can see it on their trucks, too. Yeah. All these vaqueros with their cuetas and, driving around in their big trucks, they're praying to the saint of death.
Yeah.
They say, God made me, but she protects me. That's their saying.
It's a holdover from Aztec death worship.
It is. It's Huitzilopochtli. And so what you end up with is a bad mix. Now, there are some people in the Mexican community up here in Texas, and it was a spinoff of the Mexiconomy, and it became known as Texeconomy. It was like a spinoff, right? And they became like soldiers that fought for the highest bidder. They're Tejanos, and we know some of them around here. Don't really have any problems with them. We've dealt with them, before when we've had to do security, and they kind of keep to themselves because they want to keep a low profile. They don't want to be exposed. But I had a few of them tell me that there is more going on than what we could possibly understand. And years ago, when they were telling me, my brother, this at one of these clubs we were working at, a Tejano club, they weren't lying. They were talking about vampires and what they call the immortals. These beings, these people who live off of the blood and the life force of living people, and that these people hover between life and death. They made their deal with Santa Muerta. And there is one that they called El Marta, and El Marta is another being that supposedly originated in the region of Guerrero, and it's a desert spirit, not unlike a Jinn. And it has the wings like it's like a winged demon with a demonic looking head. It's got teeth and fangs like a vampire, and it's got these weird looking backward bent legs like a dog. And El Marta is something that's not to be messed with.
Thank you, James.
It is also thought of as Mars, as the god of war.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, now this is what is like I don't want to call it amalgamation, but like a conglomeration of multiple beliefs kind of all coinciding together. And Mexico, by its very nature, is sort of a byproduct of a Spanish conquest of the Mesoamericans. And they just kind of threw their, like Anthony said, their death worship into Catholicism.
Yeah.
The Jesuits had a lot to do with the way things went down there. And yeah, D, it's kind of like Pazuzu and D, you know what I'm talking about. El Martha Stewart. She's like, now we're just going to make a pretty little turkey out of this little hair, and then we're going to eat you. You know? You're like, dang, El Martha Stewart, calm down.
Smilling, thank you.
You're going to get arrested licking that turkey like that. But no, so what we're going to talk about, and that's why I had to lay the groundwork there, and we're going to do a podcast episode where we're going to have to kind of explain to go back and listen to the live stream so you'll get the full story. Now, one of my friends he's a Brit. He's a very nice guy, but he's travels the world. And unfortunately for him, he goes to places that probably should be unalive by now. But he's not. He's managed to live, and he is quite the traveler. He went to a place called Olmeca down in the Yucatan of Mexico. When he left and he ended up back in Scotland, he called me and he says, "You're not going to believe this. Oh, he's actually worshiping the vampires down there. They're real. They're a real thing, laddie." You know, he doesn't say laddie. I just say that because I said that one day and he goes, "I don't even talk like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do, but you don't say laddie." So anyways, I call him Scotty. That's not his real name, but I'm not going to use his real name out of respect for him. But he did go down to Olmeca and he says, dude, they have a statue down there. It's a little bitty village down there, but it's right next to a Mayan ruin. And he said they have a statue of this winged demon and nobody knows who built it. Nobody knows where it came from. And it's dated back to like the 12th century. So it was set up by the Mesoamericans in honor of something, some sort of demonic, I don't even want to call it I don't know what it is, a vampire looking thing, whatever. And they don't let you take pictures of it. Like the locals will literally unalive you. You are not to take photos of it. You're not to touch it. You're not to stand next to it. And if you're a foreigner, yeah, it's a good way to be in big trouble. And so you got to be real careful. Similar to Mothman. Yes, I would say that, Snake. One of the things that you got to be careful for down there, though, and not just the cartel and all the different gangs and thieves and hoodwinks, is the military. They're an ever-present threat there. And at any time, the government could turn and say, you know what, we're just going to take whatever you have and we're going to keep it. They'll confiscate it. Buying property there, as one of my cousins learned, not a good idea, because then the government will reacquisition it whenever they feel like it. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend, investing in Mexico. It's just not a smart thing. So that being said, there was a story that we were given about Mexico. We're going to start with this one, and it was down on the border, and it was in of all things, a brothel. Now, the person that gave us this story promised us that he's like, I promise you it wasn't me. And I was like, is your wife like right there next to you? And he goes, yes. I said, okay, so you may be lying. He's like, no, for real, it wasn't me. And she was in the background. She's like, no, for real, it's his cousin. And like, and she knows. Mm-hmm. I was teasing, I like to tease, but she's like, it's a very real thing that happened to him. He went down there to what they call Boys Town. Now, every border town, period, has a boys' town. And it used to be very popular with Americans that would go down there and they would visit these places. Now, these women, they're ladies of
ladies of the night.
Yes, they're ladies of the houses of ill repute, right? They're ladies
Vampires, ladies of the night.
Ladies of the night. What's sweet the music they make? Have you heard them moan?
No, my gosh.
They're like, oh, good. That is crazy. That sounds scary.
They're women of enterprise.
It sounds like people losing their money as we speak.
Oh my.
But so they're women of enterprise. So, anyways, what they do, and it's their business. I don't give a crap what they do. I don't judge. Okay. But so I got in touch with his cousin, and his cousin was like, "Oh man, let me tell you," he's like, "It was crazy." And then he starts getting into prices and how much they charged him, and they gouged him, and they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, you can't call the Better Business Bureau. It was a cash transaction." I'm joking, folks.
Can leave them a bad review on Yelp.
He's because I'm leaving a bad. I just didn't feel loved,
I'm an Instagram influencer, and I'll make sure that no one ever goes to your place. I have 500 followers on Instagram, and all of them are going to make sure to never use you at Boys Town.
And let me be the impersonation of the woman. You touch me, you pay me, or you get out. Afuera. Simple as that. So no, what he said was, he says, went there. He goes, and this woman, he goes, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "Try me." And he says, "You're not going to believe this." He goes, "But there was a woman there." He goes, and he goes, and I was there for a couple of days, and I went to 2 different places, and I had some friends of mine from this side of the border. So we went to one of these houses of ill repute there in Boys Town. And he said that there was this one woman who was doing this dance. And I know what it is. It's the dance of the sun. I've seen this where they dance and do this, like, and they do this. It's really, it's like an Aztec thing, right? And so they're doing this dance. Yeah, dusk till dawn, right? It brings up that memory of that. But they're doing this dance. He goes, and then he goes, I was just captivated by her. And of course, there's 30 other guys too that are all thinking the same thing. We want to talk to her. She's crazy looking, So what?
That's just funny the way you said that. We want to talk to her because she's crazy looking.
You have to lift your microphone.
Ah, yes. Right about there, better.
There you go. Yeah. Good job. So yeah, and so they were all like, sweating over her, like, "Oh, we think this girl, she's whatever." And he goes, she points at me and comes up to me and starts kind of rubbing her hands on me and dancing around and stuff. And then she's got like this blanket, or I call it a blanket, but it's like a shawl or whatever. But they throw it up in the air and she dances around. They use smoke and whatever. And I'm not gonna tell you how I know this. I've heard about this. I've never been there. But anyway, she, gets the highest bidder basically to go back to her room. He goes in there. He goes, "I'm paying $300 for this." Now, at that time, when he was down there, you could do whatever you were going to do for $20, right? And he's paying $300 to have a rendezvous with this woman. Mm-hmm. Sorry for being graphic, folks, but it is what it is. We're adults here, hopefully all adults. And he goes back to her room, and when he goes into the room, he goes, she stands up, she turns around, he goes, and it was unbelievable. He goes, "Dude, I was like mesmerized." And she had these piercing green eyes. He goes, and she had this long hair. He goes, and then so we go to the bed. He's like, and next thing you know, she's holding me down. He's like, and it was crazy. It was like she had superhuman strength. He goes, and when she's holding me down, I can't move. I can't get up. I can't do anything. He's like, and then he's like, I'm out like a light. I don't know what happened. He goes, but I wake up and she's like putting her clothes on and telling him to get out, to leave. And he's like, did we do something? Was it fun? He doesn't know what just happened, but he said that he felt really sleepy and tired. He told his friends he wanted to go back to the hotel. And then he went back to the hotel and he crashed out. He goes, and then he's like, that night, he's like, my friends come back. They're all, my cousin, everybody, they're all there. He's like, I get a tapping on the glass, and I open the window, and there she is. She's standing right there, and she's like telling him, "Come outside." And he's just like, he's like, I was scared. I really didn't want to, And so he goes, I didn't know if she had given me some kind of, knockout drug or what she had done. He's like, but there she was. He goes, and I looked down into the parking lot, and there wasn't a bunch of guys or anybody there with her that might try to hurt me. So I went to the door, and I was like, "What's up?" She spoke really good English. He's like, but I'm fluent in Spanish. But we were speaking in English, and she was like, she had an accent, but she was like, let's go to a different room and let's hang out. She's like, I like you, you know? And he's like, okay. And so he's just like, he's like, I'm dumb. Okay. I'm a dumb young guy. At that time, I was 22 years old. And I thought, you know what? You know, I'm going to blow my whole paycheck on this broad, whatever. So he goes with her to another room that she had already procured. And they go inside. He goes, and here we go again. She throws me on the bed. He's like, and I'm like, look, you're very strong, you know, and I don't, you know, please stop pinning me down. He goes, and the next thing you know, he goes, I go unconscious again. And I'm like, talking to this guy. And his name was Edward. And I said, Eduardo, you didn't learn the first time? Like, how many times does she have to kick your ass before you realize Kill Bill here is just going to kill you if you keep doing it? I mean, what are you doing? And so he's like, I know, man. And no way, I should have gotten up and left, you know, but I was just, you know, he goes, young, whatever. And I was thinking to myself, I was young, but it wasn't that dumb, you know. But no offense to you, Edward, but yeah. And I told him that. I said, he goes, yeah, I was really dumb. He goes, now he's got a wife, and he's told her this. And he's like, and after that, I never messed around with anything again. I was single. He goes, and she was just like, you know, don't do it anymore. You know, like, we're married. Don't be stupid. And he's like, of course not. He goes, but it was traumatic what happened to him. So this woman, and her name was Celia. And Celia, that's the name she gave him. He wakes up and she's laying there next to him. And she whispers in his ear that he tastes delicious.
Ew.
And he doesn't even know what the hell that means because he don't remember anything. And he's like, well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, but whatever. I don't even know what we just did. And I'm going to go back to my room now. And he says, dude, the next day they all went out to go party. And I know this club too. And it's a strip club that's a strip club. And not all these places are strip clubs. Some of them are just bars and you go in there and they rob you. They sit you down and tell you, here, take a beer. And then all the girls come and jump on your lap and force you to whatever. I mean, I'm not joking. It's almost that bad. And so he goes, this is a strip club and it's a really, high profile place. He goes, and we're in there. He goes, and she doesn't work there. She works at this place 2 blocks up the street, you know? And he's like, I see her come in there and she's at the door and she comes, walking in and she starts dancing around, and he's like, wait a minute. He's like, this is, I've never seen her here before, And so everybody there was just kind of mesmerized by her. Once again, they went through this whole, and afterwards she came and she plopped down on his lap and told him that she wanted to hang out with him. And he told her, nah, I'm not, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to sleep. And she called him mentiroso. She's like, which means liar in Spanish. She's like, you're mentiroso. You're not going back to go to sleep. You're blowing me off, And he's like, he doesn't want anything to do with her at this point. And he's real tired. And his friends, he says, and he's like, he's not a super dark-skinned Hispanic, but he's not real light-skinned either. But he goes, I looked drained, like I had no energy and no blood in me. Mm-hmm. He's like, and I felt like I was not feeling good. He goes, so I ended up going back to the hotel. He goes, and the next day we go back to the United States. He goes, and my mom, who's a nurse, tells me, what's wrong? She took his blood pressure. And get this, his blood pressure was 89/52.
They trained
That's
him.
really low.
Yeah. And he goes, and I have a little bit of high blood pressure. I eat too much salt, I'm a little bit pudgy. And so I was like, really? And he says, yeah, and my blood pressure was bad. He goes, so I go to the doctor and they said that I had no iron in my blood. Like I was anemic. Mm. And so they had to give him blood. And he's like, dude, and the doctor said that he felt like he was going to pass out. He was going to go unconscious. He had all this weird stuff going on. So fast forward a couple months and he's got a friend named Marco that goes down there. Now Marco goes down there. He goes missing. They don't know what happened to him. He just like vanished. Now, by the way, let me tell you what this is 2002. Okay. So he goes down there to Mexico and he goes missing in 2002. And he's like, it was like in the spring. And he's like, you know, like months go by, you know, it was like probably 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden he goes, I get a phone call and it's my friend Marco. And he's like, hey man, you got to come get me. Help me, man. I'm over here. And he's like, and he's down there on this border town and he picks him up. When he picks him up, his friend tells him a crazy story. A story about being held captive and being drained of his blood for 4 months.
Oh.
The police had been looking for this guy, but the crazy thing was they didn't really try.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like they went to the news. They tried to get the news involved. They didn't want to help. Nobody was helping this family. And it was almost like the way his abuelita, as a grandmother in Spanish, she said it was like it was brujeria, like they put a veil over everybody. And it didn't become a big deal. It was like an American missing for 4 months and nobody said anything. But apparently this happens a lot more than we would like to admit. And I know a few other cases about this. Now, I got to tread lightly because I don't want to piss these people off. But the truth is the truth. And so whenever this whole situation happened, his friend Marco had gone missing. He had another friend, and they called him Panzón. That was his nickname. That's a nickname that means fat, but it's more like a term of endearment the way they use it. But they see he's Panzón went over there, and he.
I'm listening.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh no.
And so, but his real name's Pancho, which means Frank, right? And so, but they called him Panzón as a joke. So Frank went down there and he tells a story, another one, same thing. He went to the authorities and they locked him up. They put him in jail and he was in jail for like 2 weeks down in Mexico. And they told him to quit making up stories and they let him go. And it was all predicated on not coming back to that town. And I wish I could tell you what town it was, but I like I said, I don't want problems with these people or these whatever.
Things.
And some of my contacts that I've talked to who claim to be former members of these vampire cults, whatever, have told me to tread very lightly with those people down there. And so I'm like, yeah, and if they're telling me that, that's what I'm going to do. But here's the thing. Okay. These people that were doing what they were doing, they don't do it just for like whatever, like it's some kind of like ritual or just for nourishment. They do it as like a ritual. And they use blood, human blood, to protect their trafficking, their investments, things like that. And so they use people. And one of these guys that this happened to, Pancho, goes down there, has this weird experience. He doesn't go completely unconscious. Now, he's a big guy. He's 6'2", and he weighed about 300 pounds. And he's a big dude. So when they tried to, I don't know what the word would be, put him under, right? Mm-hmm. It didn't hold. It didn't stick. He wakes up in the middle of it, and he sees these people standing there in different parts of the room, and there are other people there, and they're actually feasting on these people. You know, I'm not going to get graphic or whatever.
It was a feeding house.
Where he was at, yes. And so, not getting too graphic or whatever, and we have a whole thing about somebody that was used as a hostage, a coke mule hostage, basically, in one of a different border town further west, and they believe that they were being held by, and that we're going to talk about that on the podcast, and you know, but when he was there, he played like he was asleep. They spread it. This one woman spread his legs and bit him on the inside of his thigh. Basically, the ephemeral artery. And, you know, he goes, it's kind of up underneath your leg. You're not where you. So he told his friends to go and look and check their body to see if they had a spot where they may have been being drained. It's also under the arm, different places where they could do this. It's not necessarily on the neck because it's a very highly visible place. And so he says, these people, and he was the one that said it. He goes, these people are vampires. They're absolutely real 100% vampires. Now, I'm not saying that I'm 100% sold on what these people are saying.
Mhm.
I'm just the messenger, and I'm just saying what they are saying that happened to them. So before you go running around saying, yeah, Josh Turner, PRT, said that a bunch of vampires running around down in Mexico and they're over in Mississippi and blah, blah, blah. All I can do is tell you what was told to us. Okay. And if you hustled and you try to do a little something, you might come across some of these stories yourself. And if you have cojones, maybe you could retell them. But that's up to you. But so people are, thank you for that, Lola. Let's put that on there. Donations are appreciated, but they're not expected. But thank you if you donate, whatever. If you don't, then don't do it. But you know how we are. We beg. We're up here. We're like, please, more porridge. And so what we got here is a possible uncovering. Now, of course, this was 2025 almost. You're talking about 23 years ago. This was a long time ago. But I'm pretty sure that this is still holding true. Now, Abe, thank you for that donation, Abe. Abe is somebody who can tell you about that because he lived down in the valley. And I need to get on his show or vice versa, and we should talk about this because me and Abe have talked about this before. These people are practicing black magic, and they use blood magic. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is blood magic doesn't necessarily mean that they prick your finger and they burn it on a candle and then they do some. No.
Who does that?
No. Well, it's brujas.
Ooh.
They do that. But we're talking about doing it on a massive scale and these people actually drinking human blood because they have entered into a pact with these beings. One of my friends, I'm trying to get him on the show. He's Chinese, and he is talking about the Jianjing, the same thing. They pray to the Jianjing, in particular one called Zuno, and Zuno, and really probably shouldn't be saying their names or whatever, but that one in particular is a vampiric winged demon. Okay. And it comes from he's from the Fujian province where a lot of people had migrated from another province, Manchuria. Mm-hmm. And there was a mass migration because under communism, a lot of people moved from one part of China to another because they turned it into a desert wasteland because communism does a lot of great things, right? It's just super duper great, right? So
cures obesity.
Well, that's for damn sure. The F in communism stands for food.
Yeah.
So, they moved them, they had to move because they destroyed, because what they did was Mao Zedong, they killed all the birds. Mm-hmm. What people don't realize is that birds spread seeds. And so when they decided animals, them and the Soviets that don't benefit humans, we're just going to kill them. Yeah, real smart. That's a real, and that's why they can't make a rocket that don't blow up. Or go to the sky, blow up. Yeah, exactly. It blow up because communism. And I don't care who gets offended, eat my shorts. Okay. The truth is the truth. And so they ended up moving, but these people, they brought their legends and their myths with them. The province next to Manchuria, and then Manchuria moved over to Fujian. And next thing you know, they have Zuno, the space demon god that they believe causes sorrow, discontent, and it is responsible for three things: famine, misfortune, which seems like famine would be part of misfortune, but misfortune in the fact that you would lose money and all these other bad things, but also it causes flooding. This, which is the Yellow River, which they call it the China sorrow. It's killed millions of people by flooding. And it's considered to be customary. It was until not too long ago, mostly by Chinese in the West, which most people in China live in the East, but they used to give like sacrifices, like animals, and some people would even claim that they did it with children, and they would sacrifice to this demon so that this thing would not destroy them, not cause misfortune, famine, and flooding. He has a brother who's responsible for war and another brother who's responsible for pestilence, right? And still another one that is basically like the devil, which is responsible for taking souls to hell. So these are the Jianzheng, the immortals, and of course they all are vampires. Basically, they drink blood. That's what they want. They want the blood of the earth, which to them is all the living things upon it. That's what they want. And it sounds very much like the Watchers when you go back and you look, And I think a lot of it goes back to Tiamat. If you looked up Tiamat and what she did and the war she had with her son, of course, a lot of people know of the Anunnaki and all that different stuff. And of course, you had, what's his name? Oh God. The one that everybody's always talking about.
Enki and Lil.
Yeah, and Lil, but there's another one, that Chief Marduk.
Yeah.
Because during his reign, there was like this invasion and all this stuff. So she fought with Marduk because he murdered her husband. So she was angry. And so, but she had a war with these beings and they went back and forth. And I believe that this could be where the legends of Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan down in Mexico, where they come from, because you have Zippy Totec, who was a jaguar-headed demonic-like entity, and he would, some of the depictions of him, he's holding like a cup or something, like he's drinking blood. You had the bull-headed god Moloch, in the Middle East. You had all these different beings that were doing what they were doing, and they used the blood and sacrifice of people, right? And so you have all of these different entities that are doing these things and demanding sacrifice. And so what these people are doing now is essentially they're just keeping it going. Yeah, and Baal. But Elastic Machinery, a lot of people don't realize that Baal is just a title.
Mm-hmm.
Like Baal
Doesn't
Haman.
it just mean like overlord?
It means Lord, yeah. Like Baal Haman was the main one that was the antagonist of Yahweh in the Old Testament. And we've talked about who or what Yahweh is, and a lot of people didn't like it. But in the Tanakh, the Jewish tradition, he's a dragon. I'm sorry. That's what the Jewish people believe. That's what they call him. And if you don't like that, well, just pretend like it doesn't exist, because that's what you're doing. When you don't read the truth, you're just pretending like it doesn't exist. But that's what it is. So these beings that range all the way from Indonesia all the way to Mexico and beyond, a lot of times are dragon-esque type beings or draconian reptilians. And there is a type, the Vril, who actually drink blood. Not my words. I didn't make this up. This is what we've uncovered by doing some research. It's called reading. People used to do it back in the Abraham Lincoln days, who some claim he was a vampire fighter. I'm not joking. Do you think that movie where they had wasn't there a movie about it? There were people who believed, now I'm not saying I believe this, but there are people who actually believe that in the Old South, that some of these old families that came over here from Europe were originally seeded from Eastern Europe, and that they came, like the Boyars, they came over here literally to be vampires. And they were old world money, and they set themselves up as their own grandchildren. You know what I mean? Like they're immortal. So it's like, oh, my grandfather came from Latvia, but I am now living here in England. But I'm going to the New World to be a cotton farmer, and I'm going to change my accent and talk like this. And in reality, I'm just a vampire, and I'm just going to drink blood. That's what they do. Now, once again, I am not saying this is what I believe, but somebody said something about New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans. And Louis XIV, Louis XVI, both have been accused by different people at different times of being vampires. And typically there are three. There is a grandfather, the father, then there's a son, and they just kind of go in order. They just keep recycling, either through reincarnation. There's all kinds of beliefs. This is a Chinese belief, what I'm talking about. They believe it's a reincarnation cycle with the order of three. And that's like, because even Zuno, he has like Xian, which is like his dad, and then there's Zhong, which is his grandfather, and then they reincarnate. They keep coming back in different incarnations.
It's interesting. I've never
look up the Jianzheng. I mean, and here's the thing too, use those, like what we were talking about. I don't know if I should even say it on here, but if you use different means of getting on the internet, let's put it that way. Because if you go just Google, they're going to be like, yeah, Alexis, is this true? No, this is bullshit. Keep living in the matrix we've created for you. Shut your freaking mouth. Stop talking about it. Oh, okay, Alexis, thank you. Because that's what you're going to get. But if you use other mediums, then, and I could probably talk more about it on Rumble and give you the exact coordinates, but you can find out about these things. Now, we here at PRT are fortunate because we have friends from all over the world and they have translated things for us. We have several friends. One of them is Simon. He's from China. Another one of our friends, his name, I was talking to one today. His name is Zero. That's what he goes by. No BS. What he goes by. But it wasn't talking about this. We're talking about something else. But anyway, these are people who can translate for you. They can read these texts and do things that can show you what they say. Because the big problem is that you're not going to get the full Monty if you're not talking to people from around the world. Because we're living kind of in this bubble and everybody thinks, oh, well, this is how it is. Well, maybe not. But if you go beyond the borders, there's a world out there, a real world that doesn't really believe the way we believe. If you stay in this little bubble in the West, in particular, the United States, you're going to think, oh, the whole world believes this way. Bullshit. Absolutely not. You go to Greece like I did when I was a kid, you're going to go, yeah, there you go, D. D put it on there. I'm not going to repeat it. But anyway, you go to Greece or you go to one of these other countries, just pick one, you know, that's further away from the Western countries, being like France and Germany and England that are controlled by the elites. Go further afield. And you will see that they do not believe the way we believe. They don't feel the same way we do. And they're not on board with the same shit. There was a lot of people shocked at some of the things that went on during the, was it the soccer? What's it called? The World Cup, wasn't it? Or was it the Olympics or the World Cup that was in Greece? It was the Olympics, right? It was the Olympics. And so there was some people that were shocked at some of the things that they were doing and saying. And I told people, I said, they don't believe the way you believe. And they look at things completely different than we do. And there's a reason for that. People are shocked when they're Americans and they go to other countries and they say things that would be considered racist or, whatever. It's because they look at that situation way differently than you because they look at history way differently than we do. And a lot of it is because our history over here has been, it's been washed. It's been sanitized. So you're eating and drinking a bunch of bullshit. I had to learn that the hard way. I was in Australia. I've been all over the world, except for the Northeast. I haven't been to the Northeast, but I've been all over the world. To Asia, been to Hong Kong, been to Africa, been multiple places. And when you talk to people from those countries, when you first hear it, you're like, whoa, like you're in shock because you've been force-fed, spoon-fed, all of this crap. And then you go to those countries and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that's not how the world is, you're full of shit, because you believe this crap. And it's kind of embarrassing because the rest of the world is looking at us like we're a bunch of brainwashed fools. So that being said, I'm just giving you some heads up. If you actually go further afield than just some vacation spots, go to some of the places I've been, they're going to tell you the real world, not what we've been lied to by the fake media over here. The media over here is totally biased and completely deranged. Okay, believe me. So that being said, we're back to Mexico. So we're in Mexico. This guy, he's telling me, he's like, these people were doing things. He's like, and they being that, he goes, the only reason I think I survived was because I was an American. And he goes, and my dad was in the military. And, my dad flew into action and, they got the consulate involved and whatever. And so he was able to get away. But he nearly died over there. He was nearly killed. They kept him, this one guy, for 4 months. And, you know, he unfortunately didn't have the dad that the other guy, Pancho, did. He didn't have somebody but his mother and his grandmother, and they were going to the police, and they were talking to both sides, and they were like, oh, there's nothing we can do. And the police over here said, look, we're being stonewalled by the police over there. And they were not going to help him. They did not care about what was going on. Now, going back to our original friend here, Eduardo, that told us what was happening to him with this woman, Celia. He said, dude, he's like, I did something that was probably pretty stupid. I was like, really? More stupid than what you've already done? Because it was pretty stupid.
Roll here, my friend.
But it's funny because he reminds me of my friend Nino, who was a molecular biologist, a good friend of mine. And he's literally, when all the biologists were being killed, I don't know if people knew that had actually happened. That was a thing. A lot of them were dying. Let's put it that way. They were dying.
Unaliving.
They were unalived.
Keep it PC.
So he was in San Diego, and he was laying low, real low. And so I told him, I said, hey, you know, if you want to take a trip, come to Austin. Don't come visit me because I don't want to be. I'm just kidding. But we called him El Nino, and it's funny. His name was Edward too. And so this guy Eduardo, he told me, he says, I went back over there, and I went back to that club, the original one. And there she was, doing the Sundance and doing everything she was doing and pointing at some guy and doing all this. He goes, and then I see her give me the side eye, and she sees me sitting there. He's like, and I am 23-year-old, and I'm staring at her, and she totally recognized me. And so then she walks over to me and says, hey, you want to hang out? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm good. I'm good.
She was putting them in a trance with a dance.
I don't know what she was doing. I can't really, but he did talk to her as the club was closing and she was getting ready to go and be with whatever guy that was her suitor for the night, whatever. And he asked her if they could go out and do something sometime. And now people think that the border is like, oh, you can't come across the border because you're whatever. No, these people can come across the border back and forth. There is a checkpoint that goes further up from there. And it's about 60 miles up, and then you'll run into it. Or not 60, I think about 40 miles up. You'll run into it at that spot anyway. So that is where you'll be stopped. But they can go back and forth from the valley into Mexico and back and forth, and Abe knows this. And they can work here. Most of them have work visas, and she was no different. She had a floral business that she ran with her husband. I don't know what you call it a husband. I don't know what kind of husband that is, but
her Renfield
partner. Yeah, her Renfield. He's like, ma'am, can I eat some of the flower bugs?
Yeah.
He's like, yes, you may.
Did you say how how that guy escaped after that 4 months of torture? Or?
Oh, no, I haven't talked about that yet.
Okay.
No. But get this, right? This woman, she comes over to the other side, and he's like, yeah, you want to go eat dinner, eat lunch, whatever. And then he finds out that she's married. Of course, he's eating dinner and she's not eating. What a surprise. Like, okay, like how many red flags need to be waved in front of you before you go, hey, you're a vampire? Probably a lot if you're like him, because obviously he really had a thing for this girl. And he said, dude, I found out that she was married and that her husband ran a flower shop, but obviously it was some sort of front, and I don't know what for, and I'm not going to get into it. The obvious answer would be drugs, but I don't think that was it. I think it was more than that. Now, this has been a long time ago, and hopefully these people are not still doing what they're doing, but I'm afraid they probably are. And so he said, dude, we went there and we ate, lunch, whatever. And he said that she's like, oh, I love the United States, and she's like, but she goes, but my husband, she's like, he wants me to continue to work in Mexico because I make a lot of money there and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. So she had an American husband so she was literally, he found out she didn't have to stay in Mexico. So there was some reason why, he goes, and her husband had money. He was doing very well. She drove a Mercedes. I mean, it was a nice vehicle. and it was a new model Mercedes. And he says, dude, there was something going on here. He's like, so I asked her point blank, he's like, what did you do to me? And she just kind of smiled and giggled and told him, oh, you know, that's just how I am, you know. And she's like, I wear people out, you know, they're just whatever. She made it into like a innuendo or whatever. And he was like, no. I don't even think anything happened in that way. He's like, all I know is that I went unconscious twice and I was drained of my bodily fluids. I was severely dehydrated. He's like, and I had no iron in my blood. And she was like, oh, you know, how unfortunate, you know, acting, you know, like, oh my gosh, I can't.
How unfortunate.
That's horrible. She's like, did you drink the water? You know, the water's really bad in Mexico. I don't know. How would she talk? Probably like Penelope Cruz, even though she's Spaniard, not Mexican. But she's like, did you drink the water? It probably made you shit your brains. That's probably what happened. But I am so good looking that you look at me and you don't care. You shit yourself. And that's when you just throw the hot coffee on and you're like, witch. And you grab, where's my steak at? Where is it at? You grab it and you go, diddle. I'm joking, folks. Please don't do that because you'll probably be killed right there on the spot. And then you'll be like, this is not how Josh Turner made it out. Like, it's going to work out for me. So I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Don't do it. So she was just like, just playing it off like that's so unfortunate that happened to you. And she's like, how about we go and we make love in this some hotel or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm good. I don't want to. I'm not going to be your energy snack. How about that? And so she grabbed his hand as they were about to leave. And she says, there's a lot of things you don't know. She's like, I like you. I really do. And she's like, and she goes, and if I was a young woman, and he's like thinking, she looks like she's 21. He goes, what are you talking about? She's like, and get this. This was when she finally sort of admitted to what she was. And she's like, if I was a young woman, she's like, and this was the old days. She's like, I would have loved you. I would have liked you. She goes, you remind me of my first boyfriend. And he goes, he's like, instinctively, I just said something sort of smart ass and sort of just crass. And it just came out. And he's like, when was that? And he goes, back when the Spaniards ruled Mexico. And she said, yes. So it was kind of a joke. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank you. Well, why are you? She's like, it's like, it's
like a Star Wars. It's like a Star Destroyer.
And then it has this right here, which I don't know if this is where.
That's where you drive the stake in.
Where you hit it or whatever.
Yeah.
This has been in my family for generations, dude, and I don't know what the hell it is. It is a weird. Nobody knows where it came from.
Van Turner.
Yeah.
Instead of Van Helsing.
But I don't know. It's a weird. I just say it's a stake because I don't know what the hell it is. But yeah, maybe my family was hunting them. You know, when you're a shape-shifting werewolf, you know, you have to be on guard for vampires.
It's too late. They already know. That's the eyebrows gave it away.
Demonic reptilian shape-shifting werewolf. That's what I was called. So whatever. But this, she says that, yes. And he walks away and he goes, dude, I could have swore he goes, her eyes changed. They looked black. And he was like, I think she was admitting to me that she had been around since, you know, maybe, you know, and I was like, I don't know. The conquest, you know, like he said she looked very Spanish, not very, you know, Mexican Indian, you know, not Azteca, not Mayan, not Yaqui, more like a Spanish person, you know. And he said that he didn't talk to her again. He never pursued her again. He goes, but one day, he's like, I was at my friend's job and I was picking him up. He worked for a trucking company. And he goes, and we were getting ready to leave the yard and I'm giving him a ride. He goes, and I see this woman sitting at the bus stop. And she had like a shawl on and like a veil. Like it was weird. And she was all dressed in black. He goes, and my friend when she stood up, she bent over to pick up something out of her purse. Typical guy. He's like, dude, check out the bum on that, whatever. And when she turns around, it's like she knew they were talking about her. And she pulls off her glasses, and it's her. And he's like, oh my gosh. She goes, I know her. I know her. He sounds like Elf. I know her. I know her. She drank my blood. She drank my blood. She tried to kill me. What's up?
When you were showing the vampire snake that you have, Smurfy said, did you read what Smurfy said?
No,
It's so funny.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Say it, Anthony.
Smurfy said, Abuela's like, pinche, that's a missing leg to my table.
Well, Smurfy, it's mine now. Anyways, that's my intimidating face. I'm like, well, it's now mine.
You gotta do that more lower, yeah.
Well, you can also do it like this.
Okay, let's see.
Yes. Yes, donate. We have these rubber duckies. Give us $50. How about not? Yes. Okay. So no, but what ended up happening is, and it's Smurfy. I'm sorry, we took your table leg. Sorry about that. It simply happens.
We'll get you another one.
Donation of $59.99, $59.95, or whatever. We can send you a picture of it. Yeah. So, but anyways, he says, I know this woman. And he's like, she's just watching me, and why she was sitting there at the bus stop, who knows? Like, who knows why that is? Like, that is weird, because somebody who's sitting at the bus stop, I mean, she's driving a Mercedes, and a year later, what is she, poor now? She's destitute. I don't know. Somebody says, "Are you a Rangers fan?" Of course, I like the Rangers, the Astros, and the Red Sox in baseball. In football, it's Cowboys, Texans, Bucks, and Raiders. So those are my teams. Basketball, it's Mavericks, Spurs, Rockets, and in hockey, it's the Stars. I love the Stars. But anyway, that's it. Enough for sports. Back to these people who are drinking blood, and you're like, don't kill me, please. But if you try, remember, I have this shit. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna do what I can. I'll be like, back, you fiend, back. That looks really funny.
That's going right in your heart.
This will go in your eye and in your heart and your up your nose and where the sun don't goes.
It kind of looks like a really bad wizard's wand.
I really thought being a wizard would pay off until they gave me this huge stick that I
gotta
can barely
be like the
wield.
worst carpenter ever made that wand.
The worst carpenter ever.
A legally blind carpenter made that wand.
Well, I'm very bad at carpentry.
And lost a finger in the process.
It's probably in the stick somewhere. The first blood it shed was the maker.
So if y'all are done now, we'll continue. Are you children done?
Yeah, we're waiting for you. Hurry up.
Say something. You've been quiet for too long.
I'm waiting for you to be quiet.
Oh, me?
Okay, so thank you, Smurfy, for that.
Thank you,
Smurfy. That
Smurfy.
wizard wand is a bit girthy. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's probably too big, but you can use it to beat someone with it to turn it around. So he sees this woman sitting there, and so get this. He says a couple days later, he gets a call. He's at work, and what he was doing at that time, he was selling cars. So, he's dishonest. I'm joking. My friends are probably cringing. Jason, Nick, we're just joking. And, Taylor, y'all are all good people. But no, so he gets a call, and it's this woman. And she's like, hey, remember me? And he's like, yeah, I remember you. And she's like, I need your help. And he was like, I thought I saw you a couple days ago. And she's like, really? And he says, yeah, I saw you at the bus stop. And she's like, She doesn't say yes or no. She just does that kind of answer. And so she tells him, can you meet me, somewhere? And he says yes, and he agrees. He shows up, and she's like, look, I'm really hungry for an enchilito. Can you pay for my Taco Bell? Taco Bell? And he's like, no, I'm not. No. You drained my blood twice. Now you want me to pay for your freaking. Mexican pizza? Hell no.
Well, I mean, she probably thought he would since he was going back over there.
What's going on here? No, for real.
No.
No, she's not gonna. She's too high class for that. She's not gonna go to Taco Bell. She was a Jack in the Box. So, but no, they went and they met at this restaurant, and she's like in there wearing sunglasses and like she's hiding or something, you know. And she's sitting there by the window, and she's pulling the blinds down, and she's like, "I'm in trouble," and she's like, "I need you to hide me," and he's like, "Hide you from what?" And she's like, she's like, "The people that run the places where we were at." She's like, "They're not people." And he's like, "Yeah, no shit. You're not a people." You know, he's thinking this. He's not telling her that, but he's like, he goes, and I'm thinking, you're not a people, you know? And she tells him, get this, an incredible story.
More than what happened to him?
Listen to what she told him. Okay. So she says, "Look, I'm going to tell you the truth." And he's like already kind of putting the pieces together, but by Edward's own words, he's not the brightest. All right. And he's like, "Dude, I'm not like, I don't get hints, you know?"
Yeah.
And he even jokingly said he thought he was on the spectrum and he had him tested and they were like, "No, you're just dumb." But no, that's his own, he jokes or whatever. Not me. I'm not making fun of the guy. Please don't think because somebody said, "Yeah, he makes fun of people who give him stories." No, I don't. Well, yes, I do sometimes, but it's only with their permission. Okay. Right. So if you've been made fun of and I didn't get your permission, sorry. Give me your address and a t-shirt. It says that I got made fun of and all I got was his t-shirt. But anyway, no, what happened was she tells him, she says, "I'm not who you think I am." And he's like, "I figured that out." You know, and she's like, "But I like you." She's like, "You really do look like my first love." You know, she's like, "And I really do like you." And she started to talk about her first love, this guy that died. And this is not the jokey part right here. Over 220 years ago. So when she says that, he goes, we're sitting there, and I'll just be honest, it was a Denny's, right? And he's like, I'm going like, "What?" And she's like, "Yes." She's like, "Yes." And so they get in the car, and he's like, "I don't know why I trust this woman who may or may not be a vampire." And she gets in my vehicle, and she starts to tell him a lot of stuff. And he says that she screwed up. Her husband, the man that she calls her husband, is one of the leaders of this gang, clique, whatever. Now they were at war with another clique, gang, whatever. And they were of a supernatural flavor too. And they were having problems. And she thought, they're going to get me. They're going to catch me. And there's going to be some issues, you know. So she bowed out. She left. Well, her side made peace with that other side and everything went back to normal business as usual, but there were people who were wiped out, beings were wiped out. And now she's on the run because she bowed out. But she had been wanting to leave that guy for a long time. And she says, "I need you to get me out of this area, out of the Rio Grande Valley, wherever they were at, you know." And she said, "I need you to take me somewhere." She's like, "I got family, friends that are like me, and they live up in Washington. Can you get me up there?" And he was like, stupidly, he was like, "Sure." I laugh at this guy because of the things. So he goes and he tells one of his friends, this guy Paul, he tells Paul, he's like, "Look, I got this girl, and and I really like her, and she's over 200 years old, and she's evil." And this guy, he didn't say the evil part, but I mean, he said he was thinking it, and the guy was like, "Well, I'll drive you," because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe this crap. He's like, "I'll drive you. Why not?" And he's like, "But she's got money. She's willing to pay us to drive her up there." And so they have to do it at night, and then they sleep during the day. Now, it's not because she can't be out during the day or she sparkles during the day. It's nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she needs sustenance. Like she needs to have blood, basically. And it doesn't have to be human. She can drink animal blood, but it doesn't have the same effect. And if she doesn't drink blood periodically, according to what she told this guy and what this guy told me, this isn't me and what I'm saying and believing, this is what was told to us, right? If she doesn't do that, and we've heard this before, she ages. She gets really old.
Like how quickly?
Well, it depends on the person. It depends on what kind of blood they get. If she, and
So
for
younger
her,
blood, they say younger,
well,
longer.
apparently the older they get, now this is the weird part. Like the older they get, the easier it becomes to stay young. Now you would think that the older you get, the further away from, but there's like this weird period there. Now, according to what I was told, this goes back to Joel. What Joel had told me, if you've been paying attention to the show, you know who Joel is. Joel told us, okay, that what powers them is like this blood, but it's not just any old blood. It has to be a certain blood, and it has to be something that is compatible with you. You have to kind of figure out what that is. There's no handbook for this. But when you go through the first 50 or so years, you revert back very quickly. You can become old looking, right? But I'm going to tell you some crazy things, folks. Trust me. All right. But first I got to get paid. I'm not getting paid. Where's my money? Okay. I've tried begging. Now I'm demanding. Pay me or you're not getting the rest of the story. And I was told by a guy that does this, that the strong arm y'all, that's how I will get paid. That's what I'm doing. Let me use this. It's a more dramatic effect.
Under fire. I'll pay you, Josh.
I'm joking.
We also accept the likes as payment. You can just hit that little like button.
No, I don't care about that. I want money.
We got 300 likes. Exactly.
There you go.
We need more likes.
There's a little button.
Can we get some more likes?
Find that button and press it right now.
Hit the like button, man. For the love of all that is holy. Hit the like button. Come on. Okay, no, but
hit the like button.
Enough joking around. So anyway, I'm joking around. Hit the like button if you would,
please.
So what ended up happening with this guy?
We got one.
Huh?
We got one like.
we got one.
Oh yeah, 301. It was 300. It's 301.
Oh, whatever. So what ends up happening with this guy? He's like, I decided to take this trip with this girl, and she starts to tell me all this stuff. Now we've already heard this. I've heard this before. Okay, but Joel, I'm not gonna tell you because what she told him is basically what Joel told us. Is the same thing. So the first 50 years, okay, I'm gonna tell you something crazy. If this isn't already crazy enough, and I sound like a lunatic up here, okay, but remember, this isn't me. This is people telling us this, all right? And so they basically, the first 50 or so years, or the first few decades, basically, depending on the person and their whatever, because some people have vampire DNA in them and they don't realize it. They don't know. They don't even realize that they are. People have werewolf DNA. They don't know. It's like it's in there to be that way. Sometimes people are naturally like super strong or super fast, and you're just like, where did this come from? It's because they have that in them. They have a certain DNA. Some people have reptilian DNA.
Thank you, Matthew.
And yes, I do really believe this. I'm not even joking. That part made me sound crazy, whatever, but yeah. So she says, look, she goes, all I can tell you is what I know. And she was with her boyfriend who was killed by a vampiric type entity. And then he took her, and then he was killed about 100 years later. And then she found another group or whatever, a coven as they call it, and they stayed together. And then this guy, he's the leader, this guy that was running the flower shop. And it was a front for a couple different things. But long story short, for that she told him everything, and they ended up on this journey. I was told that after the first few decades, it gets easier and you don't revert back as quickly because as you age, you become smarter, stronger. They travel through portals, they do all this different stuff, and they're able to attack different types of things. In other words, like you can go through alternate timelines and realities if you're really powerful. And these immortals, these chosen ones, as they call themselves, they can do that. Now, imagine if you were one of the Vril, like you're a reptilian vampire, and you were able to kill and eat just about anything. You're the top of the food chain. Yeah, you're going to have some power. But if you're a regular old human vampire, the one way to go and get more powerful is to slay one of those and to drink the blood of one of these beasts. And just for an example, imagine if you were able to do that to a werewolf. According to them, it's possible. You can't take them on head on, but you can catch them. They sleep,
Mhm.
you know. And if you're a werewolf, you're not just a target for who knows what, government, assassins, whatever, and each other, but you also, vampires will try to take your blood because it's valuable, because they have more human DNA than the vampire, believe it or not, even though the vampire looks more human.
Hmm.
That's what's crazy. So this is what I was told, right? Joel and Charles who told me this, but Joel said that you know, once you get to a certain point, like you become like the eldest over 200 years old, you don't revert back as quickly. But there's this period where, as they get older, a lot of them drink and have to eat less, and they may go as much as 2 decades without even having to drink blood. But they start. We're talking about Nosferatu earlier, but they start to look like that. They start to look all,
Yeah.
you know. And as they get further and further up, they need more exotic types of blood. And what I mean by that is going into alternate realities to retrieve blood from other beings.
Hmm.
One of the types of blood that they like is these. This is what I was told by beings that are from other realities, like other worlds, like it would be aliens to us. They prize their blood too because they get a certain nutrients from it. So as it's like, you know, it's like a role playing game. As you get higher up, the more you can do, the more powerful you are, the stronger you are. And it really is to them. This is a freaking game to these beings.
It's like the stakes keep getting higher.
And it's a game to them, and they wipe each other out like it's nothing. Now on TV and in the movies, they've made a big joke out of it, and it is funny. Like I like watching What We Do in the Shadows, but they literally are doing this right in front of you out in the open, and everybody thinks it's a big joke. There's a guy named Domo Draper. He's actually pretty funny. I followed him on Instagram because he's funny. And the next thing you know, because he does these skits, right? He starts talking about being a vampire, and what he started saying on there, and I watched him, he was saying exactly what these people were saying that they did. Where he got the information from, and I don't know, unless he's maybe being honest. He really is. I don't know. But what I'm going to tell you may really shock you. There are a lot of people who believe this too. There are pictures of John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. They have pictures of themselves from centuries ago. I'm talking like 200 years, you know, that look like them. And you're like, what is that? You know, like people that drew pictures, like drawings and things like that look like some of these celebrities. And you're like, where did these pictures come from? Where did these photos and these drawings come from? There is one of a Civil War soldier, I believe he's a Union soldier, and it looks just like John Travolta. There's another one of what's his name? Justin Timberlake. There's a lot of people who are that attest that they believe these people drink blood. Johnny Depp, and I'm not. I don't know. I mean, Lady Gaga. I mean, there's a lot of, what is the spirit cooking lady? What's her name?
Marina Abramovich.
Yeah, she's been accused of using Kabbalic magic to keep these people young, and they use blood magic. Now, these people that do what they do. Now, I remember Nicolas Cage saying something. What is it he said about the German? Say it.
Oh, yeah. Like I shared this with Wolf that like a long time ago, probably over a decade ago, when I was a kid, I used to watch these late night talk shows, and Nicolas Cage was on one, and he was asked a question by the host. He was like, "So, what are your hobbies and interests outside of acting, Hollywood, and all that?" And his answer always stuck with me, even though I didn't understand it at the time. But he was like, "Oh, I don't want to bore you with the intricacies of 17th century German mysticism." And that was such a strange answer to me. But I still remember it. Like I remember it like it was yesterday. But nobody else probably remembers that because it was on one episode of some late night talk show over a decade ago. But I always thought that was weird. And then the guy just like moved on to the next subject.
And you said something about I can't remember how you worded it, but like I would have a conversation, or I don't.
Oh well, yeah, because like when I brought it up to Wolf, I was like, I thought if Wolf could ever like talk to this guy, I would have him ask him that question, because nobody has ever like probably asked Nicolas Cage that question, like, hey, what did you mean when you said this decades ago that you're into 17th century German mysticism? And that conversation with Wolf would probably go on for like several hours, just for a very long time, and it would probably be something that like he would be very impressed by, because Wolf could get into a lot of things that no one has ever talked to this person about, like ever, except for people who are into the same weird stuff he is.
Yeah, because I do know about 16th century German mysticism. I mean, I've read a lot of books about weird stuff, because it's all relative. Patricia Gambino says, Josh, why is New Orleans so popular with vampires? Simple. After the French Revolution, the people were in charge. Now, this is a prevailing theory amongst these vampire purists, and the purists being those that believe in this stuff. I don't know what I am. I don't know. But they say that after we were talking about Marie Antoinette, after the French Revolution, Napoleon, all that a large influx of them came over to the New World to escape the persecution, and that the ruling class were vampires. Now, I believe that. What kind, I'm not sure, but they were definitely reptilian. And a lot of them ended up in Nova Scotia, where they encountered, because the Jacobites were friendly with them, and they allowed them to settle. But eventually the Brits who showed up there, and Jacobite being like those that are Scottish, who supported, the French supported them, and their claim to being independent. Now, why that's important, I'll explain. They ended up stirring up the hornet's nest, and of course Canada belonged to the British, and the British, they fought a few skirmishes, and those French people were driven out, and eventually they settled down in New Orleans, where there was a large French population, because it became a hub of trade with the Spanish. The French fur trappers had a deal with the Emperor of Spain, and they say Emperor of Spain, not king, because he was the emperor. And so they traded with them, and they were exclusive. They didn't trade with Britain. They only traded with Spain, and they were predominantly Catholic, and it was sort of a Catholic thing. And they were told by the Pope to not deal with the Anglicans. The British were spread out all over the continent, and they were fighting the Spanish and the French everywhere they found them. Spanish and the French weren't allies. They just both hated the British. So the French and the British had a treaty, and of course, things got kind of messed up during Napoleon, but after he was defeated, everybody kind of went back to normal. Spain temporarily had an alliance with the Netherlands, the Germanic states, because Germany wasn't a country at that time, and with England. And of course, England was always antagonistic to Spain, because they had an alliance with Portugal since the 1200s, which is one of the oldest alliances in the world. And it made Spain pissed off, because they could never take that little sliver of land known as Portugal.
Yeah.
That's for a whole nother story, but I could get into the whole history. But let's suffice it to say, they ended up in New Orleans, and New Orleans has always been a hub of French trading and commerce. So the elites ended up traveling down to New Orleans, and they left that region, and they all just kind of congregated there. And if the stories are true, the nobility were vampires, and therefore they just they do what they do. Why are there so many in Rome? Now, there's another place that people don't realize that Texas has, and it's called El Paso. El Paso is a place that's known in the vampire community as being a hub.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe that they live underground out in the middle of the desert. And one of the people, I'm not even going to get into it right now, but I'm going to get too far ahead, told us a story about vampires in El Paso and in a place called Anthony, New Mexico, which is right next to Anthony's.
Mm-hmm.
But Anthony, New Mexico. And they were attacked by what at first they thought were drug dealers. These people were not trying to shoot them. They were trying to drink them. But that's for another time. There are people, too, in this community that know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to say their names out of respect, but they have interviewed these people from vampire cults and different things. And if you talk to them privately, they may tell you, but they don't want to go too far in because they don't want to be looked at as a crazy lunatic. Now, there is a fringe of this community that hates my guts and thinks I'm a crazy, or they try to convince people that I'm a crazy lunatic anyway. So why not? Okay. Here I am. I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to do and say what I'm going to do and say. If people don't like it, like I said, they can eat my shorts. I don't care. All right. And I'm wearing a nice pair of olive green army colored shorts. They're very nice. I like them. They're comfy and I can spread out. Although I have to lift my legs to move because
Go ahead.
that devil machine I was on last night. I'm going to say this. If you asked me to give you 100% answer on do I believe this story is true or false, I would say the bulk of it is true. The rest of it, I have no idea. Because when people talk, sometimes they go too far out the door with stuff. And I do believe also that there was more to the story than what I was given. So that I'll say that because I asked him, I said, is this the whole story? Because it sounded like he was holding some things back. And by his own admission, he said, maybe because he doesn't want to have problems for this woman. To this day, he's in love with her, but he feels like it's unnatural. And he's prayed to God to help him get over her. So they get up to Washington, up near Seattle, and he unloads her, and the people that are there that meet her, one of them looks like she could be her sister or her cousin or somebody, but her boyfriend that she's with, man that she's with, he's Asian and he looks Vietnamese. And he got to know about the East Asian or the Pacific Rim vampires that actually live in Seattle. This is a weird thing, right? And I'm not going to get too far into it because we have a friend up there in Seattle who is actually Vietnamese. And I've stayed friends with him for years. And I reached out to him just on a whim. And I said, hey, this is going to sound crazy, but what do you know about vampires? And so I didn't get an answer right away. But I saw that he had seen what I had said. So you're sitting there going like, and this is where I do my best work. I'm on the toilet. And I'm like, what do you know? Well, he's not going to answer me. Whatever. It's 11 a.m. I got things to do. The next day, ding, I look, and he's like, what do you want to know? We start talking. I said, hey, can I call you? And he's like, no, man, you're too weird. No, he tells me. So he calls me, and we start having a conversation. And he says, look, man, he goes, I know some. He's like, I have some family who are really close with some of the Vietnamese people who migrated here about 150 years ago. And I'm thinking he's talking about people who came in, their descendants. And no, he says, no, they claim, because this is what I believe, it's not what I believe, it's not what I'm saying. He's like, but they claim that these people, they came here. They're vampires. Like they can live an inordinately, he didn't say inordinate, that's my word. He says they can live a very long time because they drink human blood. You can sustain yourself for a good 120, 130 years just on pure animal blood, but you'll look like an old person. So when we were up there, we were eating at a particular place, and I'm not gonna say the name of it, but this guy goes, you look young. And I thought he was joking at the time. And Nelly, you remember that? And he's like, you sure you're not a vampire? And he touched my arm. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I think he was trying to check to see
if you were cold or something.
Yeah. I mean, not joking. And I was like, he's like, And then when I said my name is Wolf, he goes, "Oh, okay, well that explains it." Like he thought I was saying that I was admitting that I was something else.
Are vampires colder to touch?
I don't know, because some of the prevailing myths are that they are, but it depends, because like Joel was saying, that is something we got into, that they can actually regulate their body temperature in different ways. Now, if you're talking about the Vril, who have hybrids running around, yes, because they're reptilian bloodline.
Oh.
Yeah. I know I'm sitting up here at the risk of sounding like a damn fool in front of 733. Oh, it says 729 right there, but it's 733 people. And you may think I'm bullshitting you or I'm being crazy. No, I'm not. And the people across from you can say, they can attest that there are some weird stories that come across our desk.
Oh, yeah.
And we go out in public and we talk to people and they'll be like, "Hey, I'll tell you something." Because I use my vampiric power to mesmerize them. I'm like, "You will tell me your Bigfoot story. Tell me your Bigfoot story." When I do my eyes like this. And they're like, "Sir, do you have to take a dump?
Oh my
The
God.
bathroom is over there." No, I'm trying to get I'm trying to get your story. Tell me your story, because I'm going like, just like something's wrong with this guy.
You look constipated.
Let's go get his lemon water before he pops. I don't know what's going on with this dude. But anyways, you get different reports. And one of the things I've learned, though, you get conflicting reports. But when it comes to this, not really. A lot of what we've gotten, and maybe it's divine intervention. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm not going to say, I don't know. But it seems like we have gotten, what do you guys think? It seems like it's all pretty the same.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of conflicting here. A lot of people are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
If I was getting a story from this person and it conflicted, and then a story from this person that conflicted, I would say the Dogman stuff conflicts more than the vampire stuff. The vampire stuff seems to be, and I'm going to tell you this, I think one of the reasons why this is a subject isn't talked about as much as it should be is because they have control of a lot of stuff, So if you have these people who've been around for centuries, they're going to know how to they're going to have you rolled and smoked. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to? Yeah, that is true. The Maasai do drink. ED says the Maasai drink
Blood from the cattle.
They really do. I have not seen that, but that is true. So here's what I'm going to tell you. When I asked this guy, I said, and I just kind of was on a side note. I said, "Did you ask her about werewolves?" And he says, "Yeah, we did. We actually talked about a lot of things." And there are, according to what she knows, what she told him, there are 27 different species of vampires, different types.
Did she elaborate on them?
Yeah, she did. And he still hasn't told me everything what she told him. And he talks really fast. He really talks fast. But he was trying to tell me everything. But werewolves, according to her, they exist. And they are not always friendly. Now, they can be friends with these other types of, what do you want to call them?
Supernatural beings.
Denizens of the dark, but they're not always friends, and wars do break out.
But are they like the ones on TV where they change back and forth to person to werewolf?
Yeah, according to her, and it is and the other that does attach itself. Now, but you can also switch others when you get to a certain level.
Really?
You don't have to stay with that same demon.
Huh.
So she has an other that has attached itself to her, that she claims is pretty well. This is her claim that it's pretty, benign. It doesn't really. It's not trying to, do anything. It's just there, and it's just living. Some of them live symbiotically with the host, and as long as it gets nourishment, it doesn't care. Then you have some that are all about the outfit, the clique, the soldiers, like they're a soldier for that particular clique, and they fight for that particular clique because they have just like us. They want to move up. They want to be the boss. They want to get what they're going to get. And then you have others that are more laid back. They're just like people. Now, this is what she said. Do I believe it? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Grandis says Hollywood reveals to us this. Yes, they do. Grandis, you're absolutely correct. They do. Hollywood tells you what they're doing. I mean, like, it's not. People don't realize it. It's like it's all soft disclosure. You know, she told him aliens exist. As far as she knows, she's seen them. She's met them. There are different types, and there are vampiric aliens. Vampirism is actually something that has spread across the entire, known universe. And it comes from a certain type of, what do you call it? Parasite. It was a parasitic thing. And what she told him, I don't even need to tell you if you've already heard it before. I've already told you. Because we were told by Joel and his people from Shay that this is all just, going over the same thing we've been told. It matches up. It does. Now we're going to get into on the, is it Tuesday? On New Year's Eve, we're dropping one, and it's about Agnes and what happened to her at Petra, the Forbidden City, when she returned back home to the Netherlands.
That's what I want to hear.
So that one's really crazy. Now, we have one more talk. We have to talk with Carlos, and he's going to tell us what happened to him because he went through something similar these people did. He was taken, and he was basically kept alive and tortured. Now, he was already into the vampirism, and he was being tortured. And he was threatened with being eaten by these creatures. So this is a very interesting story, and we're done almost pretty much dealing with that. We have one more thing to do, and then we'll talk about his story. But on the pre-record, we are going to get into what happened to Pancho. And, not just him. We're going to get into a little more what happened to this other guy who was used as a coke mule, and as his friend basically left him there in a safe house. And went and if his friend would have failed in his mission, he would have become vampire poop. Let's put it that way. And and so he had a very crazy story to tell. So the other thing we were talking about. Okay, so there is a place down in Mexico called Guerrero, and in Guerrero, Mexico. That's another one that we need to talk about. In fact, can you text all this to me so when I go home I can flesh, we won't be on until late, but I can flesh all this out so we can put them in order.
Okay, text what to you?
The Guerrero, the story of the Guerrero witch, which is vampiric. And then we got to get into what happened to, I don't want to say a name yet, but we don't even need to say that.
Tell me Morse code. Tap on the table.
Let me see here. So,
slide your finger to make the.
Blink my eyes. Which are burning, by the way. Are yours burning?
Yes.
Mine are burning.
I'm blinking like a maniac over here.
So the person or persons that had this situation happen to them where they were kind of held hostage, that's another one. But I already have that one ready to go. There are two others though that we need to talk about. The Olmeca. Scotty. And just put Scotty and the Olmecan vampire.
Oh, me?
Exactly
okay,
what that is. It's already in the folder.
Scotty
and the Olmecan vampire. It's not his real name. He's Scottish, so I call him Scotty.
Olmeca?
He says it's racist. Yeah, it's racist. I like him.
Olmeca.
But he's always drinking, so it's like a couple hours later he'll forget. But he does know what he's talking about. I mean, like he had some weird stuff to talk about.
Just that one? Just those two so far?
Well, yeah, and the other one I already know. I already have it ready to go. Yeah, 86 has a question for you, Nelly.
Me? Where? Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me look at the thing here because I can't.
86.
I'm not even on the show.
My eyeballs are so dry, Nelly.
Blink twice if you're being told to get you. Well, she's just blinking real fast. Well, there you go.
I'm
Well,
already
she blinked
blinking.
like 8 times. So obviously, she's not.
Well, did you see what Spilling Tea said? She said, blink twice if you need food. I need those cranberries, people. Chop, chop.
But what if she's a vampire and she's holding us against our will and making me do this show? Has
right.
anybody ever thought about me? What if I'm her bitch?
Oh!
Somebody's bitch. You know, what about that? Ever thought about that? He's in charge, and I'm the one that's just sitting here. I'm like, I don't want to. She's like, yeah, you're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do this.
Spilling says she's not buying it.
Well,
Doo-doo-doo.
don't buy it. What if this drink is blood?
That's not blood.
I'm
Blood
saying,
would taste better.
What if it is? Yeah. The beet juice is probably the best part of it. What is it? It's apple cider vinegar?
There's
What-
apple cider vinegar in this one right now because you have the kidney stone. It's apple cider vinegar, ginger extract, blueberry extract, cranberry extract, tart cherry extract, and then the juices are lemon,
Why all that?
pomegranate, beet, and aloe vera. You're welcome.
There's all of this good stuff in there, and it still tastes like ass. Turns out Nellie's been putting her blood in it.
Ew! No way. This even sounds
But hey,
gross.
I got my Dutch Brothers coffee, so.
Mrs. Billin, she's all okay. Now I say poor wolf. Nelly loves you so much. She wants to down here with. Oh, see, what's the odor? That's funny. It does burn his stomach though when he drinks it
does.
because
It
it's
makes
pretty
my stomach
acidic.
What's going on?
I was gonna say, Andres has a question. It's kind of relevant. He said, "Wolf, what is the order of the dragon?"
I could tell you. But I'm not going to. No. So that is, of course, everybody knows that was from Vlad the Impaler, but that's actually a real thing. And all of these nobles, they were all related. And they used him. He was the crown prince of Wallachia. His dad was in charge of it. And Wallachia is actually now a region of Romania. But it was the buffer zone. It was used as a buffer between Christian Europe and the Ottoman Empire. And there's a lot of speculation about that. Some people believe, I'm sorry, I have not eaten today, folks, and I am getting faint. Some
You
people
okay?
believe that there is, no, I need to eat. And that's stuff that makes my stomach hurt. Some people believe that the Order of the Dragon is a play on the fact that these nobility were actually reptilians. And just as the Aztecs believed that Quetzalcoatl and the Mayans believed that Kukulkan, they were a type of dragon type being. Just like Zuno, like the Jianjing. You okay, honey? Oh, I got this. This is good. Yeah, I'm good.
Everybody's probably like thankful that you're saying you're good. You don't hear you.
Okay, that's it. I'm not gonna eat anymore so I can get this done, but I had to do that because I have not eaten. I've been eating once a day. Just help me lose weight. But
Popcorn.
I don't want anything.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, I'm okay. But these, well, there you go. Somebody just said, Melissa just said, the elite bloodlines are part of those bloody covens and rituals. They are evil people who hate us and God because we were made in them. Well, and they really hate Christ. Yeah, that makes sense. They do. They suck your chi, or your ki, as the Japanese call it. It's taken away from you. And then but they'll actually take and drink. I'll take that. They'll actually take and drink real blood.
Or no, actually, I still have this.
I still have that too. Should I not drink this? So, to me, the big question is not whether or not this is true or it's real. It's how come there aren't more people talking about this? Why are so many people afraid to confront this as reality instead of looking at it as a fictional, jokey,
Because it would shatter their reality.
Well, why do you think it exists in the first place? And there's so many people that talk about it. And that there are werewolves, dogmen. There are movies and movies and movies and books and books and books about werewolves.
Maybe they existed
But vampires look like people. And you're not even going to know that the person next to you is one. And I really believe that eventually it's going to become, this is what I truly believe. I believe that eventually it's going to become common knowledge, just like a lot of stuff that's coming out now about aliens. It's not even a matter of whether they exist or not anymore. Everybody knows it is.
Mm-hmm.
What they are is the big argument. Everybody's like, oh, they're demons, they're demons, they're demons, they're demons. Everybody wants to call everything a demon, whatever. And if you're a Muslim, then they're a jinn, everybody. Same thing. But what they are is open for debate. I personally, don't believe. I believe that some demons are aliens and some aliens are demons. And that's not the same thing. But I believe also that there are reptilians. I really do. I believe that Bigfoot is real. And there again, what is it? Is it a Nephilim? Are these creatures, were they created by Tiamat in the Sumerian belief? And a lot of these people who are doing what they do, they worship a god named Moloch. And it's funny because they're always like, oh, I worship God. I'm into God, whatever. What is God to them? Who is God to them?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big question. And a lot of people don't like it when I say this, but the Tanakh bears it out, which is the Jewish oral tradition put into a book form. They created this book. And in the Tanakh, I'm telling you, 100,000%, I promise you, this is the truth. They say in the Tanakh that Yahweh is a dragon. I am not joking. David sees him, and he is a dragon. I mean, like every description, of a dragon, it's right there. It's like smog, and I'm not even joking. And when you say that, people lose their ever-loving freaking mind, and they think it's crazy. But it is the truth. Now, Jesus never calls Yahweh his father. These people that, that don't like us, they're all like, he's denied Jesus' father, like whatever. No, I'm talking about Yahweh. Because Jesus never says that that's his dad. He calls him Abba.
I believe I could be mistaken.
Go ahead.
That I don't know if it's in the Bible or where I heard. I didn't read it. I just heard it, and they said that it's somewhere was written that if you actually knew the name of God and you said it, you would undo creation.
Yeah, that's a myth.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah, I know I heard it somewhere. So
it's interesting though.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but you're not going to, and it's actually saying his name backwards.
Oh, okay.
But that's, and no, Seth, no, it's not. The Tanakh is not Babylonian mysticism. The Tanakh is actual Jewish oral tradition. I don't know where you're getting that from. I know a lot of people want to cling to that belief that but that is their book. I mean, I'm not joking. I don't know where you got that from, dude. Honestly. They don't believe in the Bible. That's one thing that Christians fail to grasp, is that they do not believe in the Bible. I was on with Rabbi John on another show. Was it with not Dr. Berger. What's his name?
I don't remember.
Jason McLean.
Yeah, it was Jason
McLean. I was with Jason McLean. I think it was on Texas show. And he says on there, he's a rabbi. And Rabbi John says, he goes, the Old Testament is just to them, to them. Okay, it is a loose confederation of books that was just thrown together by the church, by the early church. They don't look at that as anything. What is canon to them is the Tanakh. Now, yeah, and Lawrence Morgan says his name is Yahweh. I've studied this for 20 years now. Yeah, I mean, that is, the Talmud was written, though, in like the 12th century or the 13th century.
It's just,
So
well,
the Talmud is not, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, certain words, certain places have the way of saying God. Like Arabic, it's, Yeshua or yeah.
Mhm.
So I think it's just a different languages saying the word God, basically. Could be.
Yeah. I don't think that 86. I don't believe that they're, I don't believe that. Yes, you're right. But he never, like I said, it doesn't matter because he never says Yahweh. He doesn't. Jesus is going to tell you, if you would follow Christ and stop following a people that claim they are God's people, stop following they're not your religion. Okay. If you're a Christian, you follow Jesus, not people who claim they are God's people, because that is not the same thing. They themselves tell you, okay, like that we're not the same. And Jesus says, your father is not my father. Okay, so stop following that. If you're a Muslim, you're not going to go follow, Allah. So I don't understand this. I'm really confused how people fight and argue over this, because Yahweh is all about the children of Israel. He has no love for us. Okay. Whereas Jesus says that he came to teach to the Jew, the Greek, and the Gentile, all of us can have salvation and be brethren. But Yahweh is not about us at all. Okay. And it's very simple. When you look at what that region, he is the God of that region. And he's under Enlil. I'm just telling you the truth. And people think I'm over here like just, no. I wish all of you I could download my brain into the thousands of books that I've read, and you would see what I'm talking about. I don't get a story from somebody who is a crackpot and like, hey, I was over here doing some smack, and I got a story to tell you about some. Hold on one second. Let me tell you. Oh man, I saw this reptile thing, Moses in the sky, bro. And I'm like, oh really? Damn, I'm gonna go put that on my show because bam, I'll get some people to listen. That is not what happens, dude. You got to say some key words, and you got to have something that's going to make me go, okay, I believe what you're saying. These two can attest to this. So can Tony and my brother, especially, and Scorpion. They've all heard people tell stories. You know how many times people have tried to hoodwink us with some bullshit? And their stories don't make it on here. I could show you the emails. Anthony and I have sat there and gone over some stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're like, dude, what? Okay. This person is smoking some heavy stuff. All right. I mean, and to be stupid enough to think you're going to trick us. I mean, you don't know. These people could be selling you a bill of goods and you're buying a cow that don't produce milk. Who knows? Right. But at the end of the day, I'm a pretty good judge of this, because most people haven't read and studied the kind of knowledge that I have, and to a lesser degree them. So when they start talking and then the pieces start falling together, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, now this is a person who's not even into the show. But they're saying the keywords, and that makes you go, okay, this makes sense. But it is absolutely impossible to 100% vet everybody. You can't. That's why I say on there, I don't know if this story is true. And just because somebody says they got a great story, I mean, that doesn't matter, because, anybody can come up with a great story if they're creative enough. I mean, shit, man. Ginger B has that's a good one. She says, Josh, when you pass on, do you think we will know the truth? I think you're trying to say we will know the truth of everything. No, I don't. A lot of people do that. They'll say they have all the knowledge now, and I'm like, they don't.
They have all the knowledge they're granted to
Yeah, that's about
receive.
it. I mean,
Because you got to remember the
Well, thank you,
the
Bess
fallen
Moms.
angels, the 200 watchers or whatever. When they did that, God said that it. Remember, how do you say it? He said they didn't have all the knowledge of heaven, so it really didn't matter.
yeah, they don't.
Yeah. So even
the
the
angels
angels
don't
didn't.
have all the knowledge
Yeah.
of heaven. Nobody does, because, and I think too, you got to understand, they'll have their particular area. Like there's like sections in the book of Daniel. Okay, it talks about these angels that accosted one of the angels of the Lord. These angels, they said, in the Jewish tradition, they're these angels that stop him. They're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing over, Persia?" Because those are the angels that rule the airs over Persia, over Iran. And the angel of the Lord was stopped and kind of accosted. That speaks to the fact that they are in different sections. Like, this is our sector. If you invade the airspace of Russia, they're gonna send MiGs or whatever, to intercept you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there's different levels, there's different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm telling you, like, it's the same thing with all of these beings. They have different territories. They carve out their own little niche. Have you ever seen bacteria under a microscope, folks? Look at the microverse. I'm not kidding, man. I had a very powerful microscope, and you could take bacteria, and then you take another bit of bacteria, and they do this. They are like, whoa, what is this? Who are you? Why are you here? This is my spot. What are you doing? And they will attack the hell out of each other. They don't play well together. And I'm telling you, it is a fallacy to believe that all of these beings just work together because they're all under the devil, the super devil that runs them. There is a devil, there are devils, and there is a super devil, but they're not. There's not one big boss in charge of all of this. As much as these people want to believe, they're living in a fantasy. I'm sorry, they are. They can tell you all the feel-good messages in the world. They can tell you all the fire and brimstone in the world. Doesn't make it true. They can take the Bible and put whatever they want to put in there and take whatever they want to take out. It's not right to do that, but they do it. And then they spin a yarn and they say, well, this is the way I believe. So JT is a heretic. And they've called me that and whatever. I don't give a flipping damn what you call me. I'm the guy that knows what he's talking about. You must be the other guy. And it's as simple as that. I don't care what you say. Oh, he's going to learn. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Blow it out your tailpipe. Okay. I don't care. I mean, they also say the most ridiculous things you could possibly think of about all kinds of people. Doesn't make it true.
Lawrence Morgan says, Isaiah 61, he said, the spirit of, how do you say that, is upon me. But Isaiah is in the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and it also
careful with
depends,
that
because Isaiah is an odd book. Isaiah is one of those books. It is the largest book in the Old Testament, and it is the largest book in the Bible. But it was taken apart too. And so that's where it gets really dicey, because you have, and now you got to understand something. There are some weird things that have happened. People taking and adding and moving and whatever, because they want to make a narrative. And the main thing they want is control. That is the most important thing to them. And somebody says the Catholic Church is not the authority. They are not. They've set themselves up like they are.
I think Isaiah 61, it also depends on what translation of the Bible that you're reading, because like in the more modern translations, it says the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me. But if you go to like the more traditional translations, like the King James version or the Douay Rheims version, those read the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me. So I don't know. It's just,
well, and to them, God is Yahweh.
mm-hmm.
So in the Hebrew tradition, they're going to put what they did with the old Jewish texts, old teachings. And when I was on the show, I've talked to multiple rabbis about this. I've studied with them, clerics too, Muslim clerics, and many priests and preachers. I've talked to lots and lots of different people who are into theology. It's one of my kind of side things, my hobbies. And the rabbis will tell you that the writers of the old books, they mixed and matched. Seth Dawson just said, they said the Pharisees of old were planted many extra teachings into Judaism. He's right. They did. And what they did was they attributed to God a lot of things that weren't God. And that was the part that Jesus was saying, look, your scrolls are wrong. You're not correct. They didn't kill him just because he said, hey, it's okay to eat bread on the Sabbath or whatever, or pick grain on the Sabbath. There was a few things he did, but he was telling them that they are incorrect. And they didn't like it because what does that do? That takes away their power, their authority. It was all about the authority. And Jesus says, this is not correct. And when you tell them, hey, you're actually not God's people, we all are God's people, that's a bigger problem, because now you're taking away even more authority and you're putting them on the same footing as a Gentile. That was a problem. So Franco Stagno says the Tanakh is the 5 books, but the Old Testament Talmud is the oral laws. No. The Talmud was written in the 13th century. Well, there's a debate about that too. It may even be younger than that. It says Yahweh is just a name for God, and the Canaanites had a God called Yahweh. That's true. They had a Yahweh, and the Israelites had a Yahweh. That's the truth. Yeah, because Yahweh was a dragon. Hello. But the Tanakh is more than just the 5 books of the Old Testament. It's a lot more than that.
Where did you read that about Yahweh being a dragon?
It's in the Tanakh.
Okay.
It talks about David. I don't have time to sit here. We're getting off track.
Oh, sorry.
We're all about the Bible and stuff here, and I don't want to get all into that because I'm a heretic.
Let's go back
I'm a
to
heretic
the
because I've
vampires.
read more than you, and that's why I'm a heretic. Well, who cares? Anyway, enough of this. This is not Bible study. I literally had somebody message me the other day and just went completely ballistic on me. Jeff, I'm not even going to say your last name, but you are a crazy person, okay? This dude was cussing at me because I wasn't preaching correctly. Jeff, newsflash, I'm not a preacher, okay? And I'm not up here to preach. What I am, though, is a truther, and I'm going to tell you what I believe, okay? Now, Jeff, I get it. You like America. I do, too. I love America, okay? But I'm not going to have you pushing your agenda on me. I've already had that, okay? There was a crazy guy who tried to do that. And he started an entire movement, so we're not doing it.
This one says kitsune or vampire Chinese creatures.
Yeah, kitsune is a fox, a werefox of Japanese lore, and that is a real thing. 100,000%. I have another kitsune story that I got from someone they're evil, nasty things. Trust me. Vampire Chinese creatures. Now you have the hopping ghost, which is an actual. We had a friend of ours from Hong Kong who I've been friends with for decades, and he gave me a story. I tend to believe that too. Bad pup. It's Yeshua, not Yahweh. The translation is wrong. This is disgusting.
I know.
What in the hell?
I opened mine and I tasted it. I was like,
Stevia? That sounds like one of those names from the.
Oh, because it's sweetened with stevia, which is gross.
Oh my god!
Stevia sucks.
This assaulted my taste buds. I'm gonna have to stop the show here for a minute.
Gross. Monk food is gross.
Whoa! I forgot I drank this before. They were terrible. Nellie's like, "Would you like some Chinese demon drink?" No, I would not. Thank you very much.
It's probably better than the red drink I give you.
No, actually, this is better.
Oh, pour some in there.
What? You got one bad thing. Guess what? We have another really distasteful bad thing. Let's put them together.
Double it up.
Let's put them together. We'll call it Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, Republicans, bad. Democrats, worse. Let's put it together and let's see what happens. Together, nasty crap.
JFA red drink. That sounds scary. It tastes not very well. I tried it.
Yes, ED. Stevia tastes like saccharin. It tastes like diseased saccharin. No, spilling tea. Sorry.
What?
Don't do it. Believe me.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Just skip the stevia spilling tea. It's gross.
Oh my gosh! And then there's.
I don't want to
another
waste
gift
this, so I'm sitting here just drinking it.
By all means, waste it.
Spilling's like, well, what do I use then? Find something. I don't know. Go outside and pluck some,
I give
some
the-
weeds and squeeze them together. It tastes better than that crap.
The brown sugar cane, the one that your dad almost.
Oh yeah.
Why is it like?
So are people asking questions here?
Oh, here. Let me see.
Aspartame is poison. Yes, it is, JFA.
Yeah.
It says, Wolf, you mentioned people being a part of different supernatural lines. Would they be sought out because of their line for the variety of the blood? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like
Cane
Lilith.
sugar.
So let's do the giveaway while we're thinking about it and before we go further. If your name is in green, and we're doing the mail off to look, we're mailing off tomorrow. So if you win tonight or if you've won in the past and you have not yet received your stuff, you need to send us your email. Email me at joshturner@prtpodcast.com. Let me get that at the bottom there. Send your paranormal experiences to joshturner@prtpodcast.com right there. Thank you for everybody who's been sending their stories. I'm trying to get them as fast as I can. I know some people have been waiting quite a while. So send me your stories, and then we have what do we need? Patreon. The Patreon people. Now, if you're a Patreon and you've been
Thank
a
you,
Patreon for a
Spillin'
while,
and Ridge
you need to get your stuff. Send me a message saying, "Hey, Bozo, we haven't gotten our stuff." Okay, so now if your name is in green, and oh, that's nice of you. Spillin' Tea just gifted a membership, and Tennessee Ridge Runner gifted 5. So if you are
T2E just
you
now,
what?
T2E did too just now.
T-Toey too. Thank you, T-Toey. She's
sorry.
always so sweet. So if your name is in green, you can be you're eligible to win the giveaway. So what you're going to do, it's first come first serve. Say if you have not won the giveaway, say, hey, I haven't won before. Okay, so let me know in the comment section here and say, hey, I haven't won. So like I said, it's first come first serve. Lauren says, I wish I could show people everything I said. Let me post that right there. Yeah, that's I know, I see what you're talking about, Lawrence. You seem to be on the level. You're pretty smart. I've seen you in here. And Aaron says, I haven't won. It's unfortunate, Aaron. Your name has to be in green. Now, if it was up to me, I would just, I did that a couple times, and the people whose names were in green, they were like, look, we paid for the membership, which is $5. It's $5. So it's not fair to them if we pick people who are not, their names aren't in green. So if your name is not in green, it's $5 to become a member, and then you can, you'll be eligible to be picked. And all you got to do is be one of the first people to say, I haven't won. And if your name is in green and you haven't won. Now, Marion, you are slated to get sent something tomorrow. I do believe that's the case because I saw your name on there. So, Marion, you won the other day. I saw that your name was on there. Yeah, thank you, Sugar Britches. She says, want to be green? Please consider becoming a member of this awesome channel. Join loyal listeners. The join button is down by the subscribe button. This is a great way to show your support for PRT. Yeah, because I know people they're broken now. And thank you for that, Chef Yoda, for the donation of for the 10 memberships. Rogue says, still rocking my hoodie 1 year ago before the membership stuff. Yeah. So if your name is in green, just tell us you haven't won so we can start picking people. Alan Howe says, I won last week. Alan, I don't remember seeing your name on there. You might want to resend your information because we're going to go over it again tonight because we're going to do the mail off tomorrow. I want to get everybody's stuff sent out before the new year so we can get it all cleared. So the last 2 shows, I think we haven't sent the stuff out yet. But Marion, be looking because I'm pretty sure you're going to be sent.
Mrs. Chef Yoda.
Yeah, so
Sweet.
press the join button next to the subscribe button, and that'll get you how you can join to become a member. So if your name is in green, let me know and say I haven't won. There should be lots of people. Okay, there you go.
Matthew Wilcox.
Matthew Wilcox. Matthew Wilcoxon, I haven't won. So you need to send me your name to Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Send us your
shirt size
and
and your address.
And your address. My lovely co-host just said.
Contact information and shirt size. Greatly needed. Who else in green? We need somebody else in green that hasn't won.
Amy Krill, good point. The paratroopers do such a good job of taking care of each other. If you're on the phone, click the $sign next to the field you type chat into, and you'll see an option to become a member. There you go.
Oh, yes. This little thing down here. Super chat. Is that it? Mine just says super stickers or super chat.
86, that's a good point. He says, can I gift the membership to someone? I don't know how you would go about doing that.
They're just random.
Yeah, it's just random. Yeah, Sonia, I'm embarrassed for you. You're late. Why are you not here in uniform? So we need 2 more people to step forward.
Lawrence Morgan, thank you.
Lawrence gifted 5 memberships.
Sanja.
What happened?
She got the green. Nick, Kelly Lewis, Flavio. So we got more people in green.
Oh, Salem Nemesis about the black hat. You know what? While we're here,
Black hat.
let's do it. Anthony's in there. He snuck away so he go eat dinner. Like, I can't eat right now. You shouldn't be able to eat
I'm
either.
gonna go slap that hamburger right out of his hand.
Why are you eating that? Huh? I can't eat it. And he's like, because you're fat. I'm like, oh, you gotta bring up my weight? Huh? Should be my right to die.
Oh my gosh.
Nellie literally will, she gets upset. She'll be like, do you really need to eat that? And she's eating fries.
It's true.
Can I have it? Go ahead. I'm enjoying my delicious lettuce. It is wonderful. I love it.
I can cut it in the shape of French fries for you if you like.
Lettuce is so good. I eat it all the time because I love it. You know I'm lying about that. I do eat it quite a bit, but I'm not loving it. I'm just I'm fat.
But I do eat French fries.
She does. She's right in front of me too. She's like, "Hey, you're so good. I bet you like them with ranch and ketchup." Oh, wow,
It's not that bad. It's more like
sounds like fun.
I really wish that you could have some of these because they're so good.
I'm like, I really wish your head would fall off right now.
I just my jaw.
Whatever, man. There you go. Yeah, 86 French lettuce.
It's a thing.
Hey, Sonia, have you won before? Because you just got gifted that.
Oh, it's a good idea. Tennessee Ridge Runner.
Sweet potato fries. I don't like those because they're too sweet. I don't like sweet too much.
Okay, so that's a pass.
Oh, no, believe me. Abracadabra, you wouldn't eat McDonald's French fries. You knew. Yeah, but I do know. And I will not touch
JG, thank
those
you.
French fries. Believe me. I've left them out before and tried to hand them to my dog years ago. Wouldn't do it now. And he was like, he just like walked. Then he looked at me like, you're trying to poison me, you bastard. Yeah, exactly. Warheads. Warheads. What about warheads? I used to love warheads. Zucchini fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
Mia Luna says zucchini fries. I mean,
so if your name's in green and you wanna,
so we need one more person to win. So come on now, somebody who hasn't won, say it. You know,
making me hungry too.
See, Jessica likes them too. Everybody likes the sweet potato fries. What's going on with that?
They're good. I've had them.
They're into that. Come on, we got to do this so we can get back to the show and finish it up.
Okay. We need one more person to be a winner, please.
Ellie's like, okay, it's not you. People here to do it. Sonia, have you not won? Okay, I'm trying to get you to tell me so I can make you the third winner, but you're kind of like, I'm like, what time is it? Yeah. So you're gonna be there? 6 o'clock. Oh, you're gonna be there at 6. Okay. You're not telling me here, Sonia. I'm having a hard time. Let's get the right answers there.
Maybe she's watching like way behind or something.
She might be way behind. Is it set up that way where they can do that today?
No, I mean, so when I first start the live stream, like if you join like immediately and you don't refresh or go away and then come back, then you can rewind it. But like, because I have to set it after it starts to where you can't do that.
Yeah. Okay, Sonia, you're really not cooperating here. Okay, all you got to do is tell me I haven't won. Instead, you're typing everything but that. Oh, if she's behind, she's going to get to this point and go, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
That's why we had to stop. Anthony did that. That's why he had to stop. And Cherry, Cherry says I haven't won. Like I said, your name has to be in green because it's not fair to people who buy the membership. So, somebody who his name is in green who has not won yet. Because if not, then I'm just going to pick somebody who has won and you'll just win again. So.
Can you make it to where it's all just green lettering people that can comment?
Bad pup. We need a diverse and neurodivergent group of winners. Because no, we don't. With weird pronouns. Okay, so here we go.
She's saving the show to watch it all at once.
So nobody's coming up here. Nobody's saying anything. And, JFA says I'm colorblind. Am I green yet? No, you're not. But you've won before.
She says, I'm still here. Let me go back and read. I was bragging to my husband about the month membership.
Okay, so Sonia, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that you haven't won before. I think I've mailed something off to you before, but I don't know because your name. I think it's come up. We have a list, but it's not here right in front of me. So ED, there you go. ED, you have you won ED? Because if not, I'll pick you. ED's right there. I don't remember anybody with that handle winning before. She won in the past. Okay. And then Ginger says she hasn't won since February. So nobody else is coming forward. Oh, ED is in Australia. Well, ED, if you want to win, here's what we do for you, okay? For the people in Australia, we decided, because I could talk to Paul Wallace, but some people don't like Paul Wallace because he says the same thing I do. He doesn't believe the way, whatever. But if you are in Australia, what we'll do is we'll send you, and we have a problem, though. Have you fixed the store? Have you gotten with them about fixing the store? Because we have not been able to meet with Seven Clay. It's been with the gout and the kidney stone and Christmas and New Year's, all this other Thanksgiving. What's going on with the store? Are people able to buy stuff from the store yet? Because we have not gotten we haven't sold anything in 3 months at the store.
I'm sorry, I was responding to a text.
The store.
What about it?
Oh, so so I've been going back and forth with the support people from the website, and they said I had to generate a new API key, and I learned how to do that, and I did that. That didn't work. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me because I
okay.
Let them know, hey, I did what you said. That didn't work. I don't know why. Like something with the shipping thing is not clicking. So I'm waiting for them to help me to fix that.
And that is exactly why we're moving over to Seven Clay.
Yeah.
But we just have to find a time when we're meeting with them tomorrow.
Oh, yay.
We're meeting with Josh tomorrow. All the cool people are named Josh. Josh Cutchin, me.
Thank you, Jason.
The other Josh Turner. He's not as famous as me. He sings a song called Blonde Black Train. He's a nice guy. But you know what I'm saying. And then, of course, there's Josh Sprague. The cool people are named Josh. Rebecca. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate that, man. Really,
that's
we really
awesome.
do. Somebody gave us a donation. Finally.
What do you mean, finally? We've been getting them all tonight.
We've been getting these little crappy ones, like giving stuff away. Hey, Toey, I'm joking, folks. Anything you can do. It's Christmas time.
It's all appreciated so
it's
very
hard
much.
right now.
Thank
Everybody's broke, dude. Like literally, I took my little cousins, my nieces and nephews, and in the last 3 or 4 days, and we have been buying them Christmas because they didn't.
Thank you, Tito.
People are broke, dude, and the kids don't understand. They don't know that, hey, we can't do much this year because we're broke. They don't get that, man. They're little kids, dude.
Did you see what Tito said?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. She says, have a happy new year, PRT. Only good things for you and yours. Be safe, love, and light, and always. So in conclusion, to wrap this up, ED, look, send me your name, your address, whatever you want to do. If you're happy to pay the shipping for it, then we can ship out to you. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just ship it to you and we'll pay it. And if you can find it in your budget to send it back to us, great. If you can't, then don't do it. Simple as that. We'll do that for you. Okay. Because I want people to have stuff, and I would love to be able to have people in Australia and Britain, where we have a lot of fans, and in Canada, where they can go and rep our stuff and wear our
You need to
stuff.
get a hub in Australia where somebody
we do. And of course I could get with Paul Wallace and try to see if he wants to send books to people, because he's a good friend of the show. And then Paul Sinclair in England will send you a book.
Pray
too.
for Paul Sinclair.
Paul Sinclair's not doing good, folks. Send him prayers. He's one of my very good friends, a very old friend of mine. He's another one who's got a show called Truth Proof. And he's another great, there's a ton of them. There's
so many good people
authors and podcasters. David Weatherly, Lyle Blackburn, Ken Gerhardt,
Ann Celine,
Chad Lewis, Ann Celine. Great people. A lot of good people out there. They don't believe this crap about everybody hates me and us. That's bullshit.
Edie says
It's a
thanks.
small little group of idiots. That's all it is.
He said he'll pay for the postage.
Okay, so we'll send you, since you're going to do that though, because and here's the thing, Ed, we'll send you a little more because you're in Australia. So you don't have to pay just because you're getting a box this size. We'll put more stuff in it for you. Okay, since you're doing that, all right? But just and we'll pay it in the interim, and then Bad Pup says I'm in Canadistan. It does.
The Canadian Caliphate.
Yeah, shipping America is
Thank you, Matthew.
Expensive. But it is what it is. And we want people to be able to have our stuff, So in conclusion, what we were talking about, we still got almost 600 people in the chat, and a lot of people left, but we are going to do more work into this. And the guy ends up dropping her off in Washington. He believes her. He believes her story. And he says that she was a beautiful woman. He's like, but there was one thing that happened that really grossed him out. And that was her unaliving an animal. He had to let her go out into the woods, and there were certain areas too. Now here's the interesting thing too.
He saw her actually do it.
He witnessed her, and she pretty quickly caught something, and he had to watch it, and I think it stopped him from, she was going through withdrawals basically. This is pretty interesting. They were going through an area of Northern California. And she said that she needed to drink, feed, whatever. And he's like, well, his friend was kind of still taking it as a joke. He was starting to realize that it wasn't. He's like, well, we can stop over here and let you out. And they were going through the area, and I know where they were at. They were going through an area of Northern California that's known as the region of the rebobs. Now, if anybody knows what the rebobs are, it's a type of flying monkey. I'm not even joking. They're like devil monkeys. Now, some people claim that they just look like demonic, evil monkey beings, and some people say they have wings, and some people say there's both. It could be one of these things like the draconian reptilians, where some of them are winged and some of them, the lesser ones, are not. But these beings are said to attack people. We've did a show about the devil monkeys, and she was like, I am not getting out over here to do anything, because she's like, this area belongs to another species that's from the inner earth. And she was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting out over here. And he thought it was a big joke. So he pulls over and goes to use the restroom. And she was like, if something grabs you, I'm not saving you, and I'm taking your car. So she knows, because if anybody would know about other beings being around, it would be a being that's like that. So I thought that was interesting. When he told me where it was, I told him, I said, that area is known for the rebobs. I can't think of anything else. I know that there have been a few dogman sightings just north of there, along with Bigfoot. As you get further into that corridor of Northern California going into Oregon, that is a stronghold for Sasquatch. You mostly get stories of very large Sasquatch up in that area. And it goes all the way up into Washington. When you go to the east of Oregon, that's heavy dogman territory. I'm not joking, like LeGrand area like that. And then down into Idaho, yeah, you get a lot of, you get some Bigfoot, but there's a lot of dogman. I think if you were to divide the map up in Oregon, Northern California, all the way up into Washington, like California, Oregon, Washington, it would be west side, you know, the Bigfoot would be like west side, you know, and then the dogman would be like, you know, east side, you know, because that's kind of what it is. Whereas like down here, Devil's Backbone here in Texas, not the Devil's Backbone over there at the LBL or whatever, but the Devil's Backbone down here in Texas, you have Bigfoot in the east and dogman in the west, right? Is that correct, Anthony?
Yeah.
But when you look at a map of those the Northwest, you get dogman up there. You get a lot of them, but they don't seem to be as prevalent as the Bigfoot creatures. Now, when me and Nellie spent time up there in Northern California, Oregon, Washington, there were people all over the place that were repping Bigfoot stuff, and they really believe. And Nellie lived up there at one point, and they really believe in Bigfoot 100%. We were at a coffee shop and this guy was wearing a Bigfoot shirt. I thought he was like a tourist, and he was like, "No, I live here." And he absolutely just flat out told us, "I've seen it." Like they believe it, you know. When I started to talk to him about dogman, he said point blank, he was just real quick. He was like, "Oh yeah, it was Portland." And he was like, he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "But that's more to the east." And like, you know, I was like, "Oh wow." So they know what it is. They're not stupid of what it is. He said, "Yeah, you don't get that around here. It's mostly just these really large Sasquatch." He was sort of a cryptid enthusiast, so they gave him a card to my show. Never heard from him. He never told me his encounters. I don't know. But he probably didn't even listen to the show. He probably just threw it in the trash for all I know. But who knows, you know? But he was very adamant that it was that, and it is. It's a stronghold for Sasquatch. And of course, to the east, you have dogmen. And he was very, you know, open about it, you know, and his coworkers were talking, but one of them was talking about ghosts and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff out there, folks. If you look at all of this stuff down in Mexico, I mean, good gosh, dude, there's a lot of weird stuff down there. I mean, holy crap. I remember your grandmother, Anthony, talking about how prevalent the supernatural was in Mexico. I had no clue until I started doing this show, just how prevalent. I mean, Manos Paludos and all that, dude, it's beyond La Llorona and La Chusa and the Chupacabra. It goes way beyond that. But anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to those people that won. Make sure you send us your name, your address, and your shirt size, because we have to send the stuff off. And we have a New Year's Eve show that's coming out, and it's going to be about Agnes and her return from Petra. It's been a long time coming. And Nellie was like, "Hey, you know, you need to do the show about her." You remember you told me that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, "Okay, let's finish that up." And yeah, so we got that coming out on New Year's Eve. Now, we're not going to start it late. We're going to try and get it started about 7 o'clock. It's going to be an hour-long pre-record. We hope to see you all in the chat. I'm going to hopefully be there to stop in and say, hey. But here's the thing. It's New Year's Eve. So everybody, remember, Happy New Year. We want to see you again later in the week, okay? So we're going to do it on Tuesday, and we're thinking about doing a live, the first live of 2025. We're going to do it like Friday.
So we're going to do a New Year's show?
Yeah, but it's going to be a pre-record, New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Right?
Tonight?
So, and if we don't, we're thinking about doing a live on Wednesday for New Year's Day, the first day of New Year's. But if we don't, we'll do it on Friday. But we want to start off the year, you know, correct with PRT. What better way to start it? And so Jordan Cogburn says, I have not won. Yeah, Jordan, have we sent off to Jordan?
I could have
I
sworn that
saw
we
his
did.
name was on there.
This is a deja vu.
We're going to have to go up there to the annex and just.
Jordan, can you, are you on Facebook? If you're on Facebook, get a hold of, actually, Maddie, are you there? She's always lurking around. She's got to be there. No, Maddie, can you get a hold of Jordan Cogburn for me? Oh, there you are, Jordan. Go on Facebook and find me and message me. And then I'll try to help you get that, because I think we did try to send him something, right?
Yeah, I'm almost positive
his name
that
being on the
we
list.
sent something to him, but there's a lot of people saying that they're not getting their stuff, and then there's a lot of people saying that they are. So I don't know. Like Here Day, we've sent off to him 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done anything either.
What he's saying, but if
Hair
it
Day, if you've
shows that
seen
it's
this,
been delivered, there's nothing we can do because it's been delivered. And Jordan, I don't know what's going on. And if you are a Patreon member, be sure and get in touch with me and let me know. I would like to do a Patreon meet and greet, like with everybody who's on Patreon. I'm planning on doing that for the new year. And it's not going to be a show where we're not going to discuss anything. I don't put anything behind a paywall. But if you are a Patreon, I'd like to do something for you besides just sending you the swag. I'd like to be able to talk to you personally. If you guys were up to doing like a chat, can we do that, Anthony, where we set up like a Zoom where people or patrons can show up and we can talk?
Yeah, I think so.
So then, and then you can ask questions straight up to me and to Anthony. I don't know why you want to ask him, but
yeah, Jordan, just contact me on Facebook, please, and I'll try to help you. If anybody here knows Hair Day,
Hair Day Dylan,
yeah, just see if you can get him to contact me on Facebook as well. If not, how can you contact us? So I'm not putting my phone number out there.
I mean, just either Facebook or email. I mean, we have his email address because he's sent it. We've gone back and forth with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Andres said he's answering John. He said because John made a statement. He said that we should make a map of the cryptids. This is what John Miranda said. Wolf, a serious suggestion: make a map of the cryptids locations in North America. Yeah, and he says definitely you could sell in your merch store. I wouldn't do that. I just post it up there for free. But here's the thing. And Andres Carrizales says he did that with his brother. But yeah, what we did, guys, is me and my brother made a map of the Devil's Backbone. Anthony, you probably remember that map.
Mm-hmm.
And it was red and blue. And then we started getting these weird other. You're going like.
I wasn't even doing that on purpose.
That's funny. You were like your eyes. You were clear. Here's what she did.
She didn't want to drink the.
She's like this. She's like. I think she just collapsed. Okay. She didn't collapse, but you know what I'm saying. Like she was just like, "Oh, should I do?"
I know. It's just like, oh, this tastes so bad. But I'm not gonna waste it. So
go for it. Do what you gotta do. Today, what day of the week? Today's Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so yesterday we did legs, and what Friday? When did we do upper body? Friday.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure out why I can't move my arms. Right. I'm like, did we just do? Because this is like, holy crap! I can barely. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, you're getting in the gym after what? 2 months?
Because and then I got back, and then the elbow flared up again because of the stuff I was taking. Thanks, Jesse Doyle.
Actually, yes, thank you very much. That was really.
I'm not even joking. Thank you for that remedy because that is awesome. She's full of like good information.
She really is.
Stuff like that. She knows what she's talking about. I like her.
That's Hellbent Holler.
Yeah, I like her wit too.
Oh yeah. She's so
especially
funny.
when she's talking about ghouls. We're not going to get into that.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, she's fire. But I like her and Joe a lot. But here's the thing. So,
what are you pointing at?
I'm never going to rep this because there was a beard. No, for real. Anthony can tell you this. Anthony comes to me. It's about, 4 years ago? We're a year into the show. And Armando's like, hey, God rest his soul. Armando's like, hey, we got a sponsor. And so he was in the military, and this guy who had a company, he was in the military, great guy. We wanted to support the vets. Nothing wrong with that. He was an airborne ranger. He was like, hey, I have this beard oil. I want you to try it. And if you
yeah.
remember that?
Yes.
So So we get the beard oil, and Anthony's like, I think it would be a good thing for us to represent this, blah, 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 blah. I said, cool. So I put some in my hands, and I was like, oh, this is pretty, So I put some in my beard, and I gave some to my brother. My brother's got his beard game is good too, and we're like, and then later my brother's texting me. He's at post, and I'm working too. And he's like, did your beard break? I text back. I'm like, I was actually joking around texting with Loki. Me and Loki were joking because I'd given some to Loki's beard was breaking. And I said, what are you talking about? And I said, so I went like this and I pulled and pieces of my beard broke off. And I'm like, dude, what is this? Liquid nitrogen? And then Loki's like, holy crap, what is this crap? I'm like, dude, okay, stop. Don't discontinue the use. So I went to Armando, and he was a good sport about it. And I said, dude, your friend, nice guy, everything, he needs to work on the formula because I will not lie and tell my listeners, hey, buy this bullshit because there's gonna be some people pissed off. They'll be like, yo, F you, Wolf. My beard fell off. I'd like to send some to Castro. He can have some, dickhead. But, I'm like, I would never rep this. I'm sorry. If you pay me $1 million, I'm not going to lie to my audience and go, this is delicious.
I'm going to save it for
It tastes wonderful. Drink this shit.
April Fool's, honey.
Oh, my God. This is horrible. God dang.
Here, I'll drink that.
Oh, what?
The cold one.
This one?
Yeah.
No, I'm all right. I'm good.
Are you done with the red one, though? Yeah.
I saw that face. You're like, nah, drink that shit. No, but anyway, folks, I'm not going to lie to you and come out here and something that I have not used. We've been offered sponsorships probably, 24 times?
Yeah.
It's just nothing that we're going to hawk, dude. I'm sorry. We're not going to do it.
I probably just made it so stiff that it broke. Can it snap like that?
It did.
Oh, maybe Nair.
Well, this was supposed to be beard oil, and
Nair.
instead it dried up and you could break it. Like your beard could break. It was
crunchy.
Crunchy ain't the word, man. He's touting some other beard oil there. He says, I like the Everyman Jack. Yeah, Everyman Jack. That's what we started using.
That one smells good.
Because there was another one we had called Viking, and it was okay.
What was the one with the pretty beard on the cover?
And I'm not even going to say the guy's company because he discontinued it. But I'm not going to say that
they don't make those anymore.
He's a nice guy. No, he quit making that beard oil. He tried another formula, and it made people's beard hair fall off. And I just was like,
Poor guy.
No joke. I'm serious, man. He tried. He says now he's got it perfected or whatever. But I'm like, nah, man, you're from Oklahoma. I don't trust anybody up there.
Maybe you should try it, though. I mean, if he perfected it, they try it on himself.
Yeah. No, because when your beard breaks and then other people's beard fell out, I'm all right. I'm good. If you really wanted me to, honey, I'd do it for you. And I would gladly make Anthony use it. 100%. 100%. Anthony, rub this on your beard. And then and then he has this and this part falls out.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I wanted sideburns, man.
End up getting like those mutton chops.
Or just there's no beard there, like a reverse mohawk or something.
You know what? Everybody's been clamoring for a workout video. We really need to just have you show people the 14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we call it the 14 exercises, and it's the base for what we do.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking, and I'm not bragging. People think I'm bragging, but I'm strong AF. I mean, there was this safe that was 550 pounds at Academy. I don't know if you have Academy where you're from, but we have these wonderful stores called Academy. They are like a cross between Walmart and the best sporting goods store you've ever seen. And so Richard, my cousin's husband, was pushing it, and I rocked it back in place. And I was like, how much is it? It was super heavy, but it was 550 pounds. Now take another 110. That's what I bench. And I was squatting like 780. So I mean, I'm not even joking.
You moved this the other day?
No, Richard rocked it.
Oh,
like
okay.
He pushed it and it started to fall forward, and I caught it and just shoved it back. And he was like, holy shit. And I said, dude, I can bench that plus 110 pounds. And it was like, Paige was standing there and she was like, holy crap, that is an ungodly amount of weight. But Nellie gets
now
mad.
We know why your arm is hurting.
This was like 2 or 3 days ago.
Exactly.
This was not before. This was before I even worked out on Friday. And Jason says, Wolf, what you and D did mapping Devil's Backbone was actual research versus that garbage Dogman migration. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what he was doing. He was trying to say they just go all the way around Texas and then go to Louisiana. Okay, go figure. Yeah, okay, whatever. Oh, damn. Lawrence says he was 750 pounds because doing
Nice.
780, but I weigh like 360. And I'm happy to say I actually weigh 360.
He pushed that with his legs. He
Legs,
squatted that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like on the sled.
On the leg sled, though.
Yikes.
Oh, dude. On the leg sled, I filled it up on what is it? We have the top and the bottom.
Yeah, there's
I don't
like
even
four.
know how.
Oh, so there's like 4 pins to put
4 pegs.
weights on.
And then I had 2 of my friends, both of which weighed about 250 each, big guys, Pug and Scorpio, and had them get on there. And I did 7 reps on that thing. Straight reps with that. When that is, I don't even know how much it was. It was like 1,200 pounds or some crazy crap. But I can't do that now because Nellie would kill. If it doesn't kill me, Nellie would kill me. But Nellie's like, look at her. She's smiling.
What are you doing?
Because you know that you were like, you were not doing that crap. Do you know how old you are? And I'm like, yeah, I'm old. But anyways. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us for 3 hours. A great time. We had a great time. We had 730 something.
Mm-hmm.
Something people. I thought we had 760. Did we have? No. Was
Yeah.
it
I thought
we
it peaked
did.
at 730.
730? That's good. We had a lot of people. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to those people that won. We will be back. We'll be back Tuesday night.
No, 740.
740.
Mhm.
Cool. So we'll be back Tuesday night with a pre-record. But remember, be looking out for these other vampire episodes that are going to come out because these people have a lot to say and we want to get it out to you. Okay. Hang with us because we have a lot to do going into 2025. It's a very pivotal year and it's going to be very important because I think more and more stuff's going to come out. And I think with the guy returning into office, I think a lot of stuff's going to come out. I really do. And I think that there's going to be some big, big things happening in our country, in our world, in our solar system, our galaxy, our universe. A lot's going to happen. A lot's going on. So stick with PRT, guys. We love you. Thank you for all of the. We had so much fun this year.
Yes.
I'm not even joking. We were constantly being attacked, but it was like fleas biting our ankles. And you're like, what is that?
Actually, that
Oh,
did
there's-
happen to us this year.
there's
Remember
some
the fleas?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
outside. Where
Yeah.
were we? Oh, that house.
Yeah. And we're like, dude, what the hell is that? And we went to go look at a house.
I was like, why am I itchy? I looked down. It's like,
Dude, their yard was just cut. The poor
Infested with
animals that
fleas,
lived there
dude.
must have been just in pain. and
dead
agony.
raccoon house.
We called it
Yeah.
the raccoon house. We told you about that too. So, folks, thank you for everything that y'all have done. We're hoping this coming year will be the year because we're going to get back on and get to it. But our living situation has just been crazy.
But it's about to get better.
But it's about to get better because we have the house now and we're slowly moving stuff back and forth. We're between the ranch and the house. But Nellie's board game is not done. It is almost done, but we're ready to get that done, get it over with. The vampire book, I got to get back on it and get it done. I got to finish it.
I got to finish our 3 books.
We are working on books. My brother's working on a book. Everybody's working on stuff, and we got a lot of stuff to do. And so this isn't it for us. We have a lot going on. Okay. And don't forget, we named a bunch of different podcasters and YouTubers that we're friends with that have great shows. Don't forget Strange Things with Chris James. He's a great guy. He's got
Paranormal Sue.
There's
What's his
Paranormal Soup. There's so many people doing good work, doing great work.
A lot.
And I'm still friends with Merkel. He does a good job. I like him. There's good people out there that are doing a lot of good stuff. Okay. And then there's not. But they're in the minority.
I heard one that's a new one that's coming up. It's the Random Files. I hear they're really good.
Well, the problem with that person is they're not putting stuff out. That's what I think. Because they have lots of material, but they've been bogged down doing other things. So I think that she needs to randomly put some files together.
Oh, there's files. They just gotta be.
You just
done.
need to do it. I
I
mean, you know,
do.
and I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying that.
Oh,
the
I
person-
blame Maddie. She's supposed to be like motivating me here. And she's
I
not.
blame everybody but myself. How
She's,
about that?
actually,
You
she's actually
know?
putting a lot of things together for me.
Your show's better than
Ideas.
mine, so I blame you because I suck. How about that? Why do you got to make me suck? It sucks. You know, no, it's you can't blame anybody, man. So Jordan, let me know. We're gonna see, and we're gonna find out because I got to make my way up here. But see, you got to understand something. I work until 5 a.m. because when I leave here, I got to go work. Okay, and then I got to try to make it all the way back to Austin early enough to talk to these people and do what we got to do. So, but I'm going to try and make it up here so we can figure out where your stuff is at and whoever else may have not gotten their stuff.
Yeah, let us know, please, because
Yes, you don't want
that
you
makes
to
me
not have your
us feel
stuff.
awful.
That makes me feel bad.
Well, it's
Okay. All right,
2025.
guys. Thank you
Yes.
for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate everything.
Yes.
And good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.